Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here on twitch.tv/LCS, twitch.tv/Academy. And if you're watching over on YouTube, the LCS channel as well, for the Proving Grounds powered by Verizon tournament here between the best Academy and the best of North American amateur here. My name is Mark Rafa Alexander Aramide, your host for today's best of 5 epic series between 100 Thieves Academy and Evil Geniuses Prodigies, and I've got some handsome fellows on the desk as well. We got Chilling Walk and Joshi, who will be calling the matches today, and we also have a very special guest, Prussian, who, you know, if you don't know Prussian, he was the analyst for Wildcard, who unfortunately did make an earlier exit in the tournament. You know, send prayers and love to the Wildcard boys there for them. But Prussian, you know, I want to get your thoughts immediately to start off the day. How have you been enjoying the overall scope of the tournament so far?
You know, getting eliminated a little bit on the earlier end of the tournament feels pretty bad, but on the bright side, I get to hang out with all of my bros in the desk here, and I get to watch some great League of Legends today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's good to hear. Well, Prussian, we have a banger series, as we already pointed out, between 100 Thieves Academy and Evil Geniuses Prodigies. But first, before we get into the matchup between those two teams, we got to take a look at how those teams actually got here. And so I do believe that we have some good old B-roll to show for you. And I was going to start throwing to you, Will, because you actually casted this match with Icarus.
Oh, no, actually I casted the one with 100 Thieves against EG Academy. But this one was a hype one, Mark, because this one was where game one, GG Academy, they came out swinging. They're looking really good. Of course, you take a look at the bottom side, Prismal, kind of popping off right now, but then game two was kind of a slugfest, I'm being honest. It was getting real close, but eventually 100 Thieves, you'll see it on screen right now, they make a swing back in, and they kind of make a gigantic cleanup at the end of it. Hop into game three, though, when it comes up, it was honestly, it just looked like 100 Thieves just kind of having their way with Golden Guardians when we hop into it. But these guys were looking really good. Game two, Tenacity was popping off, Kenvi was popping off, and then when going to game three, it was the one where it was Kenvi on the cane, by the way. When I was casting him, he wasn't looking too hot. But in this game, he was on fire with the Monte on that Zoe, and they were looking real clean. You see a change from game two to game three. 100 Thieves just kind of flipped the script, and they managed to take it home.
Absolutely. And one of the things as well when you were going through this game that I didn't see in the previous game before, you know, Kenvi on this cane having a tremendously better time going through that scaling pick and 100 Thieves being able to protect it. Meanwhile, Evil Geniuses Prodigies, their last match that they played was against Dignitas Academy, and for them, Prussian, you know, one particular player stepped up that you weren't expecting to have such a pop-off game in that series.
That's true. Game three, we got Aspects Azir. 11.6 is what this tournament's being played on. Azir's not really that hot of a champion, but Aspect just pulls it out of his pocket, completely performs. Just Shurima shuffling everyone into the backline and taking over the game on what's mostly a secondary carry for EGP, but Aspect showing up big in this series particular, really showing what he's got to offer.
Yeah, I was rather impressed with how all of the, EG Prodigies were actually able to play throughout this entire series, because we got to see that they're not just one or two players like we oftentimes paint them out to be. We typically highlight players like Tomio and Shiro for them, and Aspect kind of sits in the background, but allowing Surdy and Aspect to really take a little bit more of the forefront through this entire series gives us a lot of hope as we start looking towards today's series.
Now, for between Evil Geniuses Prodigies and 100 Thieves Academy, you know, before we get into the bread and butter, and just looking at these two teams overall, where the strengths lie, where the play styles really shine, you know, we've come to find that they're actually very similar in play style here, and it's one of those things where it then really begs the questions like, okay, well, if both teams have better, you know, the same play styles, then who does it better? And already, before we get too ahead of ourselves, you know, we do need to take a look at the lower bracket and see the journey that they took to get to this place, you know, as we are rounding out the very last losers quarterfinal matchup. Yesterday, we did see Evil Geniuses Academy, the sister team of Evil Geniuses Prodigies, win the slugfest against TSM Academy 3-1. They will be awaiting the winner of this match in the loser semifinals. And then, of course, you know, over on the upper bracket, we already know that C9 Academy and No Org are waiting to play out their winners finals matchup over on Friday, I believe, on on Thursday, the 22nd. And then the loser of that matchup will then play the eventual loser of whoever EG Academy decide to play against. It's got a lot of stakes in the cards, but once we have the winner from this series, gentlemen, we're going to have the top 4 ready and defined. And I want to go to you, Prussian, once again, because when it comes to looking at these teams, I know I was about to throw to you, but I do remember that before we get into the nitty-gritty for both teams, we actually got Samsung Fast 5 coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got some hot stats. First, in the mid, fastest mythic item, Yumbi, Jojo Pyun, and 5 Fire. Bot lane, fastest 10k gold, King, Cody's Sun, and Spawn. Support, fastest item, Transform, Chime, Joey, and Yursan. Josh, I'm going to go to you for this one because this is featuring Tenacity when we're looking at top lane's fastest 100 CS mark.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to note that he is the fastest to 100 CS on the Samsung Fast 5, simply because we've been able to see kind of the duality of Tenacity. He's one of the few top laners that is able to effectively play both the strong side and the weak side, and we've seen plenty of opportunities for him to show off the Renekton alongside Kenvy's Nidalee, and I think this is really speaking to that. When you don't have a lane opponent because you're always killing them or pushing them out of the lane, it's very easy to get to this 100 CS mark relatively quickly, and notably, he's doing it before some other major hitters like Hanser, like Viper, who we typically look at as some of these really dominant early top laners.
And then when we're looking at the jungle here, Prussian, I know one of your beloved players, Panda, does make a mark here.
That's true. I mean, just 3 seconds off, prolific speedrunner, Panda, a.k.a. James Dingster. I mean, he's the GOAT. He was the leader of Wildcard, so I feel good still seeing him up there. There's a little vestige still left in there.
I definitely appreciate getting some love, even though we're not going to be seeing him for the rest of the tournament. There's another name in there, Babip, who did make his exit after getting knocked out by EG Academy. But now, as we go back to the main series at hand, ladies and gentlemen, I do need to bid adieu to Chilling Walk and Joshi. Yeah, I know, guys.
Wow.
I enjoyed having you on the
we
desk.
just got here.
We just got here,
but guys, don't worry. You're going to call all the action for the rest of the series, so you've got plenty of lungs to be able to use for those, so don't worry. We'll see you in a bit. But me and Prussian are now going to have some...
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Don't take it too hard, guys. You know, we'll see you later. We'll see you later. But now, Prussian, for me and you, my friend, now we have a little bit... more one-on-one time, and I really want to get into your mind because now we're going to have to break down these two teams for the viewers at home. We already gave a little bit of a preview. 100 Thieves Academy, Evil Geniuses, Prodigies. Very similar in play style, but the difference lies in how much more cohesive of a unit 100 Thieves Academy is when playing around Kevy versus Evil Geniuses, Prodigies when playing around Tomio.
That's true, and while a lot of people might look at the bottom lane matchup between these two teams, sporting very two strong bottom lanes, I'm more geared towards the jungle because while I think Tomio and Kenvy are both fantastic players, I think that the way that these two teams interact with jungle are a little bit different. Tomio, we see a lot of the Lilia, we see a lot of the Nidalee, maybe even some Olaf, a lot of these junglers with more early game agency, whereas Kenvy is sort of unique in the regard that he can play for a jungle counterpick, things like Kayn versus the Lilia or Nocturne as we saw in the LPL. And while these junglers are good into Lilia, they do come with a disadvantage that they're very prone to being outpaced in the early game by the Lilia or just the faster clearing junglers throughout the early game in general. But I think 100 Academy do a fantastic job at facilitating Kenvy through picking lanes that getting priority in their matchups. Think something like Demonte's Orianna, which is a pick he's been quite effective on. And these picks and their facilitation of priority throughout the early game allows Kenvy to scale up quickly, and it allows Kenvy to play for jungle counter pick a lot of the time in these matchups that we don't see very often.
Yeah, and it goes to show that, you know, obviously Udyr and Hecarim are always running the show when they're up on the table, but it might be in 100 Thieves Academy's best interest to try and ban those junglers away, because for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, they've come to show that they are very reliant on Tomio being able to have access to some early agency early on, but also being on something that is low econ, such as those junglers, because you get the chem tank, and then that's all you need. Then you can just give all your resources to Shiro, who, as you've pointed out, is the true wild card for this team. That's true, no pun intended. Shiro is absolutely cracking it throughout this tournament. He is the absolute player to watch on EGP in my mind, but that's not to take away from players like Tomio, Aspect, Mist, and Surti. It's just that Shiro has just been absolutely very impressive. Another thing that I'm thinking about as far as draft goes, as you mentioned,
I do believe 100 Academy are starting on blue side this series, so I'm interested in seeing if they're going to take away one of the Hecarim and Udyr and then pick the other one, because since Tomio hasn't been playing these weird sort of counter picks, I think that it's going to be sort of suffocating towards EGP. Especially in the draft phase. I think that they will be very limited as far as what their bans can be, since Kenvi is much more creative in what he's capable of playing as opposed to Tomio. But EGP might surprise us, and I'm not willing to just write them off that they're going to be pigeonholed. They've had a lot of time to prepare for this game, and I want to see something different from them.
Yeah, they definitely had more than 24 hours, a solid 36, 48 hours, which is, still, the more time you can get to go over every single strategy and every option is going to be, that much more in their favor of Evil Genius's Prodigies. And I do believe we're going to be heading into draft soon. So, I'm going to kind of TLDR and, restate for all the fans at home. Watch for, Udyr bans coming out from 100 Thieves we're actually going to get Evil Genius's Prodigies on blue side. So this actually changes up a little of the draft priority. But already, check this out, Prussian. We have a Thresh ban coming in, as well as a Tom Kench taken away from Poom.
That's true. So I was actually wrong. 100 Academy are on the red side of this game. But, I mean, Poom's Thresh is absolutely astounding, and it has a 100% pick ban in the LPL playoffs so far. So really, I'm not surprised.
So 100 Thieves Academy, check. They even opened up with Gnar and Camille ban, and something that I want to kind of pick your brain about is that this Camille pick, we didn't suspect that it would actually be that much of a prevalence, as it's kind of fallen out of favor. But like you said, Prussian, Hecarim being locked in for Tomio, that's one of those high agency junglers.
Absolutely correct. I mean, against Surdy, you absolutely have to ban the Camille. He is the best Camille likely in this tournament as far as relative to where his other picks are at. And Hecarim is a pretty typical first pick, and we have the Kai'Sa locked in alongside the Rel. So the 1-2 bottom lane for 100 Academy, I'm interested to see, with the Thresh being down, are we going to see the Alistar right away from EGP? That's a champion that Mist is very good at, and not only in laning phase, Mist has been very good at influencing the map, especially relative to his form in Scouting Ground Circuit last year. What are you thinking as far... Oh, man.
All right, well, tell me about this one, Prussian, because we know that Shiro's has been a monster on the Samira, but is it that dangerous to pick the Samira this early on in the draft?
I mean, with a only 1-2 from the bottom lane, I think that Samira is pretty exploitable elsewhere on the map. She's very vulnerable to CC, even something like Victor. If EGP lock the Orianna here, it's most likely going to be the Victor on 3 from 100 Academy. The Chaos Storm, I'm wrong, but the Chaos Storm can absolutely silence the Samira ult, and we're seeing just the handshake Hecarim Udyr as always from the junglers. So I'm interested in seeing these EGP bans. Are they going to ban for mid lane? Because it's almost certainly going to be a mid lane pick from 100 Academy on 4, and then an R5 counter pick on top lane. So I'm wondering if they're more scared of what Lure is going to respond, if what Damonte is going to pick into the Orianna, or if they're going to play for the top lane.
Well, you did mention that Alistar would be a fine option into the Rel. 100 Thieves Academy already snuffed it out and taken it away. This Nocturne pick, though, knowing that Tomio has already locked in the Hecarim, then they were suspecting that Surdy has been putting some time in this Nocturne top lane.
Yeah, Nocturne's going pretty crazy, I'm not going to lie. Nocturne, he is irritating. It is very hard to beat him in the laning phase. He's really good at side laning, and on top of that, he shuts down your side lanes through his ult. And we see the Victor ban, so I'm curious to what Damonte is going to pull out here. Maybe something like a Zoe is what I would expect, but there's still other options available.
We had a little bit of a conversation about, whether Seraphine would make it through the draft phase. And you pointed out that it's kind of fallen by the wayside as people have been able to find options into it. Still, Seraphine's not going to be finding any play today. Syndra is going to be the answer from Damonte.
I hate this pick, man. As a mid laner, this champion feels so bad to play, and it's into Samira too. And I do not like playing Syndra into Samira because she spins and all your balls go bye-bye and your E goes bye-bye and everything is doomed. So I'm not a big fan of this pick, but I understand why they pick it because it can get priority into the Orianna throughout the early game. So maybe they're looking for a more early game oriented composition around the top side. But either way, I'm not a big fan of the Syndra response into the Orianna.
Yeah, if you throw the unleashed power, but all your balls disappear into the world, whatever the wind wall that's Shiro has, that's a hell of a vasectomy here on the Rift. But for 100 Thieves Academy, we have Tenacity with the answer is going to be Aatrox, and we know this Gragas is going to go over to Surdy. I do want to point out here that we have double magic solo laners here for Aspect and Surdy. Now, more than likely, we've seen a lot more success with the tank-oriented version of Gragas, and you already have enough burst from Aspect. Would you concur that we should see Chem Tank from Surdy this game?
I think going double Chem Tank might be a little bit redundant, but obviously it's a really broken item. I would be okay with seeing a little bit more magic damage since this 100 Academy lineup is a little bit more squishy, and it makes that disengage a little bit easier from Tenacity, a little bit more threatening since you're throwing that more powerful explosive cask. So I'm erring to the side of having a more damage-oriented Gragas, especially with the frontline Hecarim and Nautilus, but only time can tell. I'm in.
Right. And then when we're looking at these overall compositions before we get into game one here, looking at 100 Thieves Academy, you have quite a bit of crowd control that can set up Luger's Kaisa for success. Do you still give 100 Thieves Academy the edge with their composition, or are you still not a fan of the Syndra into the Samira?
Not a fan of the Syndra, and I actually favor the bottom lane matchup of EGP a little bit just because I don't think that when her Academy past Udyr have too many good answers into immediately shutting down Shiro's ultimate. Rel is okay, but I'm not seeing it. I'm giving this one slightly to EGP. Blue side is so strong.
All right. Well, we should be going to game one very soon here, Prussian. And I know we didn't really talk about predictions for the overall series. We just kind of jumped right into the draft phase here. But, as we're, making sure that all technical difficulties are getting straightened away by the players, for the overall series, I think it's definitely, favored towards 100 Thieves Academy. And, we're going to have to get predictions and save them for another time, Prussian, because Chilling Walk and Joshi are ready to call the game. Take it away, gentlemen.
Much appreciated, Rafa. Thank you so much for walking us through that draft. Y'all brought up a lot of smart intel. Y'all mentioned about DeMonte. However, DeMonte could go on Tanner time. And Josh, I got to check in real quick while we're in this early game, man. How you feeling about those drafts, man? How you feeling about some of these characters that both these teams have chosen?
I mean, I gotta echo a little bit of what Prussian said earlier. You gotta see if DeMonte's gonna pull the trap card and actually pull out that Tanner time today, man. This is a tough game for Syndra to be particularly relevant in. You got a lot of beef coming out. There's no cow, but you still have the Nautilus, the Hecarim, and Surdy's Gragas, who all have a ton of ability to withstand some of this burst. And I think it's a more natural composition for EGP to play. You see one R button press, you start pressing a whole lot more, and suddenly there's no 100 Thieves left on the field. So I'm definitely looking at this from 100 Thieves as they're going to try and get a lead early on, and unfortunately we haven't seen a lot of these tempo compositions have that great of an effect throughout this tournament.
Yeah, I know you brought some little stat. It was like, it was pretty low. I'll tell the audience that much. It was low when
about
they're trying to play
35.
fast. About 35, according to what Josh said. But one thing I do got to mention, though, Shiro on the Samira. You remember that card we pulled, Josh? When Shiro's on Samira, he gets to just eliminate 5 members on the Rift. And if he doesn't, he still gets style on him regardless. So hopefully Shiro gets to live up to his card that we managed to pull. But that's one thing that I do want to think about when we look at EGP, where they do got that raw factor, they do got that pop-up potential. Shiro's gonna be the big one of them.
Yeah, I just want to highlight this guy a little bit more, right? Because this champion, he is one of the few people who are still actually playing Samira. And, there's a lot of conversation about whether or not this champion is still strong. And sometimes it doesn't matter. If you just have stronger players, you're going to be able to have some good trades. You're going to be able to have some good team fights. And I really like what they're doing. Now, that said, we're on pace for some kind of 3v3 in the bottom half of the map as both Tomio and Kenvi top half clearing towards the bottom. We might be seeing some fights over this Scuttle Crab, and because Udyr clears so much more quickly than Hecarim, he might be able to generate a little bit of an experience advantage and have an extra level by the time we actually get this fight.
Yeah, one thing about Hecarim too, Josh, is that when it comes to his clear, he does have to sacrifice one camp when it comes to getting that bottom skull. So my question now is between Aspect and Demonte about that lane priority. I know Prussian on the desk mentioned that Demonte, he understands why you picked that Syndra, you get that early lane priority. Maybe that's going to be a big factor when it comes to battling out for that bottom crab.
Yeah, I really like this, man. Coming out from 100 Thieves, we already talked about how they're going to be getting a little bit of priority in the mid lane, potentially in the top lane, and surprisingly, very heavily in the bottom. And Tenacity, is he looking to dive this?
Nah, Tenacity, don't you do it, bro. He around the corner.
He's thinking about it.
Can be thinking about it too.
Kevin's, oh my god, then Tobio misses! Tobio doesn't know he's there!
Oh, the flash, the stun! Oh my god, yo, 100 Thieves open up with a kill on Aspect. Not even burning flash, but he wasn't even ready!
And look at this, they're not done. They get the kill in the mid lane, and they're transitioning it into not just the bottom lane Scuttle Crab that we were already speculating was going to go in their favor, but also the top lane one. Tenacity moves down, and because he crashed his wave earlier, he's going to be able to pick up this Scuttle Crab. So Tomio gets nothing. He's going to Willy Wonka, and he's getting absolutely nothing.
He needs to go down to the Chocolate River, get something back in, man. I'm not too sure what Tomio can do, but hopefully he can get some sweets back into his pocket. With this being said, though, let's take a look at his first blood, man. This is real smart.
Yeah, it Kenvi does not, in fact, flash in place. That is, in fact, you know, just a visual bug coming through, but this is what we were talking about. Udyr clears so much faster than the Hecarim wall. It doesn't have the same kind of teamfight presence. It means it gets first move. It has an opportunity to dictate the pace of play in ways that Hecarim often does not. And this is the kind of plan that I love to see coming out in the early game. I typically attribute this to teams like Counter Logic Gaming, but 100 Thieves Academy showing that they are just as willing to make these kind of crazy plays.
And this is a big core thing when we take a look at the early game, because both these teams play very similar. You know, they got mad aggressive junglers, they got solid top laners, they got explosive AD carries and engaged supports. The one thing that separates them, according to Prussian, when we were kind of talking and trading ideas, is that 100 Thieves are a little bit more experienced in that way. They kind of allow Kenvi to breathe and play the way he wants compared to Tomio, which EGP they definitely do, but Tomio just doesn't have that kind of lung capacity to make sure he can kind of look for these plays.
Yeah, well, and I think we have to be frank about this. Oh my, okay, Tomio spots him out. He's not going to get the same kind of easy gank. I've been rather critical of 100 Thieves for a while because we often look at them playing things like the Renekton Nidalee, or they'll pull up the early Nocturne. They'll even do things like the Kayn that need to make some of these early plays, and they haven't necessarily done it. And this is already like, I don't normally expect fighting around the 3-minute mark, especially in the way that we do. I typically look at teams as, oh, this is a team that fights around 5 minutes. This is a team that fights around 10 minutes. And 100 Thieves, I'm trying to remember what the other team was, where they were saying, like, oh, they just fight fast. It's Noorg. That's the one we're thinking of, right? They have an idea of when they want to fight, and they play to that timer all the time. 100 Thieves showing that they're going to be able to hang with some of these other really strong amateur teams that have kind of had their number throughout a lot of these tournaments. However,
Josh, this is game one. Both teams need to find a good foothold in this best of fun. I'm excited too, but we gotta calm our nerves, man. We can't build it we can't oversell it. You gotta chill, see what happens, because at the end of the day, they're gonna be playing against Evil Geniuses Academy again. 100 Thieves did lose to him last week. EG Prodigies might want to go for a civil war. Both these teams really want that rematch real soon, and even though we talk about these comps and players, we have to see who can pull that trigger. Miss is gonna pull the trigger in the bottom lane against Poom and get a little bit of a trade, but it's all about that clutch factor. Who can pull off that trigger, who can start some of these fights, and who can actually get that slug in.
Yeah, and I think, looking at these fights that we're potentially looking at, I don't want to look at EGP as a team who's just content to just play for the later game. It's something that they often do, and they do it rather successfully, but against this team that has already shown that they're going to start swinging at the 3-minute mark, they're not done, right? They're using the tempo advantage that you get of playing Udyr over Hecarim. They're trading that. They're transforming one kind of lead into another kind of lead. They have the tempo, now they cash it in. They get the material, you get the extra gold, and Tomio, I think he's got some kind of idea. It's like, my blue buff is probably not here anymore, because look at the amount of vision control that 100 Thieves have been able to generate. They're getting tempo, they're getting gold, they're getting information, and in every sense of the word, 100 Thieves are absolutely winning this game.
We'll say, though, EGP did opt in for a little bit of a gambit, right? Sacrificing a little bit of that early game because of the lanes that have been dictated, so that they can kind of scale later on. Surdy, of course, going to make it out of those chains, so it's nice to time down. But EG Prodigies right now, I think they're okay chopping some wood.
Yeah, we'll see how well they can actually do that. We see Tomio trying to find his first gank of the game, but it looks like he's just kind of getting zoned out by Damonte in the mid lane. But we might get a little bit more fighting, right? They don't want to go quietly into the night.
I like that Miss actually managed to stop Poom from going back in. Has to activate a stun. Exhaust comes through, getting real close as both supports are falling down to lethal. Shiro not going to push on, nor does Luger. Tomio's around the corner. He's looking for a dive. Only looking by himself. Yo, Shiro turns 6, by the way. Does activate Death Blossom, but they are going to back off.
Yeah, oh boy. Okay, so small lead off of that coming through, but it's a speculative lead coming in from EGP. They don't get any kills, but they do trade positively in summoners. Poom had to use his flash, and while he still has Hex Flash and can be aggressive, he doesn't have that defensive tool available. So I want to see Tomio make a repeat visit down here, especially seeing how much time Kenvi is spending on the top half of the map and how far behind in farm he's currently falling. Man, Aspect gotta be careful. He does have the flash, but so does Kenvi.
And even then, Kenvi does manage to pick up the Rift Herald too because of his top lane and mid lane priority. Now with the rest of 100 Thieves are looking to advance forward on the bottom side quadrants. I think they want to get this red buff, man. What's up?
When did 100 Thieves get Dragon?
I don't know, bro. When did they take Dragon? It got slipped under us.
That has to have happened like during a replay or something, right? Because they've just been so far ahead that they're able to take everything. Like, look at this.
Okay.
Look at this difference. It can be running behind the turret again, and Tenacity's here as well.
Oh, man. Aspect is in the middle of 4 people. Shockwave ain't going to matter. And unfortunately, Aspect's going to be the main target for 100 Thieves as he falls down in the middle of 4.
Yo, okay, there was a game in LCS a while back, this is reminding me of, where you just, every single time you get the mid laner pushed in the other side, you just look to dive him, and look at how much pressure they're applying to Aspect. Remember that conversation we had, that Prussian and Mark were talking about? You look at EGP as Shiro, Tomio, some of the big names that we're going to look at to try and carry these games. Aspect, typically not going to be that kind of player to have a lot of pop-ups. He does it from time to time, but this is a way to attack it. If your carries don't have any people support them and keep them relevant in the game, give them that extra power that they need to do damage, they're going to have a lot harder time, and I love this coming out from 100 Thieves. They're empowering Damonte, they're putting Aspect behind, and suddenly the Syndra that we had a lot of question marks about, looking really good.
Tomio's around the middle, in the mid lane. Miss is going to go into Onslaught Shells, whiffs on Tomio, and Damonte is actually going to be getting out scot-free. A little bit of a blunder from EGP, but regardless, I like that they are looking for some action.
They're looking for things. They try and echo exactly what it was 100 Thieves are doing, but this is kind of the question we were asking. If both teams are going to be playing the same way, if both teams have similar game plans, who's going to execute better? And right now, it's 100 Thieves making the plays, getting the leads, and now because Tomio just used his ultimate, because they see him on the top side of the map, it's going to allow them to pick up the second dragon. And explosive cask, I don't know if this is enough.
Maybe Tomio's route here. Tenacity decides to flash. Flashes under a turret. Tomio just going and swipes him for just a little bit. So 100 Thieves do have to burn some resources off of Tomio's aggression, but bottom side now, this is the second Drake for 100 Thieves, and they're looking to take it.
Oh, Aspect has to flash again. Oh man, this is rough. This is just a result of what we saw earlier, right? It's because Aspect is so far behind. He's down like 30 CS, is opting to go with a bit more of a scaling build, doesn't have the Verdant Barrier, doesn't have as much magic resist as you might expect. He's going to be a little bit behind for a little while. He's not going to be able to take some of these fights, and it's going to translate into Damonte's ability to move first over and over. So EGP, we're going to start having to look in other places. Where can they find their leads? Because they currently don't have a meaningful one anywhere on the map.
This is where I look at the way teams approach it, and there's always 2 ways. Do you approach the one who can pop off real hard, or do you approach the one who's one of the pillars of the teams? And I look at EG Prodigies, I think a lot of us can say Aspect is probably one of the safest pillars, one of the most consistent ones on the squad that doesn't really fall too far below and doesn't really make a lot of plays. But then this is where I wonder. I don't think EGP has been tackled in this way where you're targeting one of these main pillars of the squad, and that's where I'm actually curious to see how EGP will adapt when it comes to Aspect and his performance in this game.
Yeah, I've got a bit of an economics term for you here, Will. Right? Normally we talk about chess or fighting games, but comparative advantage. Right. Comparative advantage says that whatever you do more efficiently than the other guys is what you should do. Even if it means not propping up Aspect, you should try and figure out where you have an advantage. And the one place that we look at, right, is kind of Shiro versus Luger. And this isn't to discredit Luger. He's a fantastic AD carry, but he tends to play towards the later stages of the game, where Shiro is much more willing to fight now. And oh boy, Kenvi.
Oh.
Just flexing, man. Looking like Kangas.
Yeah. We'll have to see what Kangas. We'll have to see about that. But right now, 100 Thieves, they want to try and fight over this blue buff. Smite, of course, is going to be over to Kevin because he is a level up, but that means that they want to see if they can tackle through. EG Prodigies, I'm not sure if you guys want to go for this fight. Magnetic Sword comes from Puma as he does turn sinks. We look at the backside. Demonte does get shockwaves. Right now, no one's gone down until finally Tomio falls to Poom. On the back end, Puma is going to be the one who has to flash away. Does manage to make out, but then Mist does take it through. Regardless, though, Josh, 100 Thieves, even without that scattered invade, they're still taking advantage, and now they still want to continue this dive on Aspect as Heroes around the corner. At Aspect 6, that is going to be enough backup. Kenvi still taking some jungle, man. Don't be playing the Octopus, Kenvi. Back out. Don't want to get punished here. All right, he is.
Dude, alright, getting rewarded with the Infernal Rift this time around, Will, just having that blast cone to pop himself right on out, but this is kind of the difference that we're seeing. 100 Thieves know when they're looking to fight in this game. They know that they just want to take it. They can opt into a fight just because they are stronger. They're going to be able to come out ahead in these long fights, and this isn't super clean, right? This is not the front-to-back style team fight that I often look at as a hallmark of what some of these really good teams do. It's super scattered, super chaotic, but because 100 Thieves are confident that they're better, they're willing to go into these fights anyway. And even though it's not the cleanest thing, they trade a kill back at the end of the day. 100 Thieves are able to be rewarded for this confidence, and if they can continue to do that, this game is going to snowball for them, and that 35% going to rise by a couple points.
Oh yeah, I mean, we talk about those junglers in the other game, man. Take a look at Kenvi. He's up a good amount of camps. He's also 2-on-2. Look at Tomio. He's doing good, but he is also 0-1-1, and I think this is where we take a look at the experience and the way both these teams play that early game. Remember, 100 Thieves, they let Kenvi breathe, and this is a pretty good game that essentially shows that up. EG Prodigies, of course, they don't want to go down without a fight. Tomio wants some objectives. I know Tomio, he's a hungry player, he's a young, talented player. He also plays with a lot of fun, and as long as he has had fun, he's feeling confident, he can look for some of these plays that could work out.
And look at this overload of pressure coming in from EGP, right? They bring all 5 members to the top side, which is giving Tenacity a lot of opportunity to farm for free. Surdy needs to match him at some point, and they're going to be trading a couple of objectives, right? You give over the mid lane turret by 100 Thieves, you're going to be taking the bottom lane turret, and in exchange, EGP might come out a little bit ahead by grabbing this Rift Herald, but this is a means to an end, right? Just like taking those flashes earlier, it didn't matter that Poom didn't have his flash. They weren't able to do anything about it. They didn't punish that missing summoner spell, and this is another situation where now I'm looking at EGP. They have the tools to make some of these aggressive plays. They have the Rift Herald, and with the Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, they'll be able to reset and play for that, but what do they do with the tools that they've been given? If they have an advantage, they need to play to it.
I'm a little worried though, Josh. EG Prodigies did pay a lot of money for that Rift Herald. Tenacity picked up a lot of money for himself, just taking that bottom outer turret and getting some waves for himself too. So we'll see if that game pays off for EG Prodigies. But 100 Thieves, all 5 people are sitting around the mid lane. They want to get this sole point, man.
Well, 100 Thieves, Syndra here first. I don't like Syndra very much as a champion, but this is something she's incredible at. If you get to the objective first, you deny all of these choke points, and EGP a little bit scattered. Look how far away Aspect is from the rest of the team. It's going to take him a while to actually draw these battle lines, and maybe Surdy on the flank can find something.
Poom's going in! He's found Shiro already! Everyone's looking to Pile Dog on top of him. Shiro still barely alive, but he does fall down to Kenvi. EG Prodigies are already scattered as Demonte assassinates Mist off the rift. Luger's going to come in to add the cherry on top of that cake. As Nasty, he wants to eat some of that cake too. Surdy has to use that explosive, has to back away. But 100 Thieves off Poom and that flank managed to get themselves a lot of kills and that dragon.
That's the other thing Syndra does, Will. Whenever you have a team that isn't all together, you're able to get these long-range stuns and get fights started. But Poom and Surdy both looking for these flanks. Hey, what did we say? These teams play similarly. They're trying to do similar things. It's all about executing on them better. And Poom is doing that in spades. They get the dragon. That puts them one away from Infernal Soul. They get a bunch of kills. They didn't trade anything back for it at all. And EGP, like, they still have time, but they need to get some items onto Shiro. They need to get some items onto Aspect. And this is when these champions are at their weakest. They need more time, and I don't think 100 Thieves is going to give it to them, because just look at how beautiful this really is. You find Shiro, he's the one guy who's going to be doing meaningful damage throughout this entire fight. You kill him first, and suddenly there is nothing left on the side of 100 Thieves. You won't have any way to kill any of these low members, and wisely, Kenvi and Poom know they aren't needed for the rest of the fight. They're going to back away and just say, hey, we're going to start hitting this dragon. If you need us, you know, I'll be close. Come to us. Yep. You call me.
Yeah, it sucks too, because you look at Aspect, right? The man's been bullied early on from a lot of the 100 Thieves crew, and that's what made him build a little bit more defensive, as you mentioned early on. It's also one of the reasons why that shockwave didn't hit real hard, but I want to kind of shine a little bit on the similarities of these teams. You said that both these teams kind of played the same way. A lot of these storylines are pretty much the same way too.
Not yours, Tomio.
Yo, can be. All right, cool.
Okay,
Tomio has to take it away from
Aspect.
His. It is his, unfortunately, but we look at both these teams, Josh. EG Prodigies are essentially in the same boat as many of the three players on 100 Thieves on the other side were last year. Had 100 Thieves next, EG Prodigies, the amateur team being built up by the Evil Geniuses squad. And it's really cool to see these storylines come through. We've got some young blood, person against some, I guess, middle blood from 100 Thieves Academy, and that's where I think the experience is right now paying off for the 100 Thieves squad right now in this game one, as they want to go on Aspect.
100 Thieves boomers already?
They're not boomers. They're not. They're I would say they're millennials. You know, that's
millennials. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I think it's Gen X, right?
Is it Gen X? I'm not too sure.
Gen Y. Gen Y.
Gen Y. Is it Gen
what
Y?
Are our parents' generation?
I don't know. Are they the baby boomers? Too many generations.
No. They're not boomers. We've already been over this. Anyway, we'll get back to that. We'll figure it out. We'll do some Googling between games. Because right now, remember that Rift Herald that we were talking about a couple minutes ago?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It might finally get a crash. You might finally see an opportunity for EGP to get something, but this is more like, hey guys, we lost most of our windows to do anything in this Rift Herald. This is the last place that we can do it and at least equalize a little bit on some of the gold that they had to trade in order to pick this up in the first place. But it's not necessarily going to be giving them a big advantage. Tenacity is already here, and it's unclear if this structure is even going to go down at all. So we talked about who's going to be doing things better, who's going to be able to play more aggressively. Again, 100 Thieves coming out a little bit ahead because they're willing to pull the trigger faster.
It's all about those nerves, Josh. Who can land that first punch? Of course, 100 Thieves didn't manage to land the first punch, but remember, this is a best of 5, man. EG Prodigies can throw some first punches in this second game too, as well. But I'm excited to see what Shiro can do, man. We have to wait and see if this guy can actually pop off some of these fights. He, of course, hasn't had the option to do so. 100 Thieves is doing a good job punishing and covering those options of what Shiro can do. Well, I think once EGP can find their good footing, they definitely can. But still, man, they're just taking all these camps away from Tomio. They're making sure that Tomio doesn't get the farm. They are going to be on the bot side. They are trying to tackle Tenacity. Tomio and Surdy trying to go for a 1 versus 2, but Tenacity a big boy. Yo, Tenacity's a big boy. I don't know if Tenacity can actually live through this. Okay, he does fall down just barely. With Tomio, he has to walk away with some blood.
They don't do any damage, Will. It takes
they tried.
forever.
They do.
They succeeded. Let's give them credit.
Yeah.
They did succeed at taking down Tenacity, but it took them a long time. And now we ask, what are they going to trade back? It looks like this mid lane turret. They get the kill in. Ooh, okay.
Missed.
It's missed. Okay.
I don't know if that. Does actually the lock through the Iron Solari. Was questioning that hook that he threw at Demonte, but he's going to walk away and reset for himself. But the Dragon's up in the next minute, Josh, and if 100 Thieves manage to take this Dragon 21 minutes in, it could be doomed for the EG Prodigies team.
Yeah, so now we got to take stock of how powerful everyone is. What item completions are they actually going to make? You see Kenvi already on 2 items. Tomio hasn't yet completed his second just quite yet. Similar story up in the top lane. Tenacity has his second completed item in the Steric, so he's going to be a lot harder to kill than someone like Surdy is.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I do want to highlight the fact that Shiro, he's going with the Gale Force on this champion. I really like this entire idea. If you're already losing, you gotta build damage as bad as it feels, because if you can't do the damage to kill people, you can't do anything. You don't want to just lose slower, and so we'll see if he can find that reset, maybe pop off. There's still opportunities for EGP in this fight, and they are here in time, so they aren't just forced out of these choke points by Demonte.
100 Thieves have a lot of control, trying to see if they can find a stun on a Sturdy, but they don't.
Okay,
Shiro's
boom.
now coming back in. Dragonheart's gonna start. Yeah,
Tenacity.
Tenacity's on the flank. Right now,
is big.
both stalemate, both looking at each other. Nothing being pulled. Stun lands on a Sturdy. Not going to trigger, but this is actually going to trigger. We take a look at both sides. Sturdy is going to be real low. Activates the ultimate, but it's going to knock Demonte away. Now Tenessi's on the backside against Mist. We take a look at the top side. The Puma is going in with a gigantic ultimate, that Magic Storm, and we take a look at 100 Thieves. They're now trying to clean sweep as Shiro's already fallen down off the map. EG Prodigies, they are scattered. They got to walk away. Aspect, you are by yourself against many members, and that's going to be a near clean ace on the side of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, wow, this is insane. The slow positional team fighting coming out from 100 Thieves is incredible. They have an advantage. They're slightly earlier. They're able to control these chokes, and they're going to reward themselves with a team fight. The Infernal Soul and the Baron buff, and Tomio, the only person alive at the end of that. And just watching 100 Thieves, they were so aggressively confident earlier, but now they've transitioned it into a patience will, and it is incredible to see them showcase multiple styles in a single game.
Yeah. That refinement has been the one thing 100 Thieves has over EG Prodigies. That's why they have that experience in Academy. That's why it's showing off here. And you take a look at this discipline.
Look how slow this is.
Exactly. They're both fighting and stalemating, but that Sky of the Week starts everything off along with Kenby, too.
Yeah, they're able to push it out, right? They have so many nuke choke points because of the Infernal Rift that they want to push people around. They have Poom on a flank, they have Tenacity on a flank because they know it's going to be too hard for the members of EGP to try and dive through Kenby, try and get to both of the backliners and Luger and Demonte. And by slowly maneuvering and pushing EGP into these chokes, they can drive a wedge right through the middle of it, separate it into multiple fights where all of the 100 Thieves members are going to be individually stronger than their counterparts. And now it's going to be really hard for EGP to try and bring this one back. Down Infernal Soul, down Baron, and this is what they need to try.
They do find a catch on Demonte. He's going to go golden. Shockwave is going to whiff from Aspect. That's a big ultimate. EG Prodigies, you have to get the heck out of here. Magic Storm doesn't land on anyone. Tomio is going to see if he can play interference, but we take a look at that Scatter Week. That was huge. Nasty's in the back line. Luger in the back line, too. Only Shiro by himself. Certainly trying to play defense, but he's not going to protect the quarterback. And 100 Thieves, they are blitzing EG Prodigies in the middle of the dang base right now, Josh. EG Prodigies, they have to peace out. And same thing with 100 Thieves.
They got one.
Shuts out. They got one off of a turret shot on a Luger. A little bit of a mistake, but regardless, 100 Thieves, they still have that momentum.
It looked like it might have been a blunder, Will, but it was just a trap being laid by 100 Thieves. It's an elaborate ruse.
Yep.
A bait.
Decoy.
And now, yeah, it's a decoy. There's lots of things. You know, they all mean the same thing. They've been tricked, bamboozled, and all that other stuff the red versus blue like to talk about. But they pick up a couple more turrets. They're rewarding themselves with a lot of gold. And we mentioned a couple times, EGP, they have time to scale into this game. They might have an opportunity, but when you're down 11,000 gold at this point in the game, when you don't have the item completions, when you don't have a way to kill any of these members, it doesn't just quite matter. And Demonte, he's so safe with this stopwatch that it doesn't even matter if you're able to find him isolated, because he can just buy time and get to the safety of the rest of his team.
Yeah, of course the Scatter Week starts off everything under the turret too. And this is what triggers everyone from 100 Thieves to tackle down the back line. Shiro, of course, and Aspect falls down too. Real unfortunate because we look at EGP and they're looking for some of these picks, they're looking for some of these catches, and credits to them. But when I watch these two teams, Josh, it's like both these guys are playing the same character. It's just 100 Thieves are just have a little bit more mastery in the way they want to play.
Yeah, wow. It's crazy to me, like watching this difference in game one, right? Because both of these teams. Right, we are pretty far into this tournament. There were 16 teams at the beginning of this. This is top 8, top 6?
Top 6 now, yep.
Yeah, top 6.
Top 8 was yesterday, yep.
Yeah, so they're doing quite well for themselves, and they've proven that they are able to hang with and beat a lot of the other Academy teams. I was expecting this to be 100 Thieves' favorite, to be entirely honest, right? I think they've been able to execute a little bit better throughout most of the season. They're a bit more aggressive. I did not think it would be this one-sided.
I mean, it's just the way that EGP plays too, man. Like, when you both play the same way, whoever executes just kind of takes it by leaps and bounds. And you can kind of just show, It's just what happens when both teams kind of know what they both want to look for. 100 Thieves just a little bit faster. They have better setup. Small little things just kind of change everything. If EG Prodigies played a different kind of game, right? If they played for early aggression, or if they played for high tempo, or if they played for sturdy on the top side, the game could be flip-flopped. But this is like a game that just encapsulates both these teams enjoy playing in. It's kind of showing.
Yeah. But we are running into one of the roadblocks that 100 Thieves are kind of running into. Yes, they have these really good, more chaotic fights. They are able to take a lot of these fights because they're simply so far ahead. As Kenby might be caught, but he's a fast bear.
He is a fast bear. Grizzly bear walking away. Tomio's on the horse trying to see if he can catch up to the bear. A lot of people are trying to see if they can tap Kenby right now, but EG Prodigies, unfortunately, that bear does not want to get caught down by a net. They're going to have to back off and recuperate their losses.
Yeah, but we are highlighting, again, something that 100 Thieves team isn't actually that good at. They're not actually that good at diving under these turrets. They're not that good at a lot of these sieges, right? They want to find ways to pull EGP out of the base. And crucially, we have the Elder Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. And 100 Thieves, if EGP just gives it over, 100 Thieves will take it. They're like, yeah, okay, if you just want to give us the best team fighting tool in the entire game, yeah, well, that's fine. But instead, what I'm expecting to see happen, they're going to start building up vision control in this bottom quadrant of the jungle and just forcing EGP to face check every brush in order to try and contest it in the next minute or so. And already, it's a whole minute before the dragon even spawns, and look how many members 100 Thieves are already bringing to do exactly that.
That's what I'm saying. 100 Thieves is just kind of on here first. EG Prodigies, of course, they understand that this is basically their last chance in this game. They want to potentially get an advantage back on the sides. Because remember, Elder Drake is kind of like a coin flip. You get it. It swings a lot of these fights back over.
Oh, can be.
They don't want to. Yeah, I'm like EGP. I'm like, no. I don't want to deal with Kenby and Poom face checking into me. A little dangerous. If it was the Mate, though, yeah, I think I take that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. But look at the damage Aspect is actually doing, right? Void Staff second. Does a lot of damage to these guys.
Yeah.
It does does a lot.
Both these teams, though, still fighting over the mid lane. Elder Drake is coming up in 15 seconds at this point. Remember, 100 Thieves actually don't need this Elder Drake to actually end the game. Remember that. They just want to use it as a place to fight. Of course, if they get it for free, might as well. EGP, they have to they're stuck in a catch-22 where they have to take this Elder Drake or otherwise they don't have a chance.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised that 100 Thieves gave over so much space, right? They did a good job at clearing out a lot of the vision, but they're letting EGP walk into it. And so, they don't see the Elder Dragon, they don't see the HP, Tenacity and Poom, they got this flank. What do EGP want to do? They have to do something.
Okay, Tenacity going in. Shorty just gets deleted off the top side!
He's just dead!
That's it. That's it. It's so hard for EGP to try and go unless Tomio can find something else back in. But Tenacity and Poom are just playing solid interference. Elder Drake's not going to get picked up as now this is where the 100 Thieves look to secure and add that cherry on the cake. Shiro going to be the one taken down at the end, and that's going to be a pretty fast game for 100 Thieves as they're knocking down that base.
This was one of the cleanest games of League of Legends I have seen in the amateur and academy scene pretty much this entire season, Will. This was textbook by 100 Thieves. They had a plan at the very beginning of how they wanted to pad. They had a plan in order to actually take all these objectives. They knew what they were looking to do, and they executed on it every step of the way. And if this is the kind of 100 Thieves Academy that we're going to be seeing, man, these guys are looking good. The evolution of what this team was just last year. Sorry, I choked a little bit. But 100 Thieves aren't doing that. They're going to just take this clean sweep of this first game. Not even close. Give me more of this, Will. This is what I signed up for.
That was a Brevi game, my man. That was a banger. And
You're hurting me.
I'm excited. You know what? I'm going to say it. That was a concise and clean game plan, as you said. And I'm going to say it again. That was a Brevi game from 100 Thieves Academy because they put on a show. Now, this is where I kind of wonder for EG Prodigies, what else do they have in that playbook? They got to bring out the Flim Flams, the ShamWows, the Bamboozles, and all these little plays of what they can throw back in because it just looks like when EGP is playing the same game plan as 100 Thieves is just a little bit weaker.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we saw highlighted here was the difference in having a plan to fight earlier than your opponents already, right? Yep. If you know you want to fight at 10 minutes, you can't be opting into these fights at 5 minutes. But the thing is, EGP didn't even opt out of these fights. No. They didn't handshake to go for any of these. It was just 100 Thieves saying, you can't not be here. Your mid laner can't not be under turret at this point, and we're just going to punish the things that we know players have to do. Because could you imagine being Aspect? You hear your top laner say, hey, my top laner's not here. You see the jungler having no idea. It's like, oh, he's probably at this bot lane crap. Mm-hmm. You're not expecting to get dove. Like,
God,
what
no.
do you do there? I can't fault Aspect at all for that, and that's why I'm so excited to praise 100 Thieves.
Yeah, they played a really smart game plan. They tackled, again, one of the pillars on EG Prodigies. Hopefully they can make sure Aspect is doing okay after that game 1. But we'll have to see what happens in game 2, Josh, because I'm excited. For everyone else out there, go out and take a break, get some popcorn ready, because hopefully this game's going to be a banger one, and I can already feel it, Josh. We'll be right back.
Whew! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't realize 100 Thieves Academy called in a cleaving service because they wiped the floor with Evil Geniuses Prodigies. And Josh, you being, the eyes and ears to first witness to the murder of the scene, tell us, what the hell happened there?
Yo, that's the thing that I'm here for, Mark. We got so much going on. I was so excited to see what they did do, like all the big macro movements. I know I missed something, and that's why I'm here, man. What did I miss? There's a lot of cool things going on throughout this game.
Prussian, I think, has kind of the insight here. We were talking a little bit while the game was going on, and it really came down to that very first kill, the dive from Kenvi onto Aspect, and continuously attacking the blue buff for the rest of the game here, Prussian.
That's true. Something we talked about in the champion select is how DeMonte was going to utilize the Cinder pick. It's not a pick that I was a really big fan of, and I think a really big reason why a lot of teams aren't really utilizing this matchup across the regions is mostly because there is a very small window of opportunity for Syndra to punish the Orianna in the early game. And I think Kenvi did an amazing job at utilizing it against Aspect's Orianna. So after Aspect gets his Merc Treads, he becomes unkillable, but Kenvi was completely abusing him throughout the game.
Yeah, and I think something that you highlight there is attacking the blue buff away from EGP. Now, we saw Tomio actually win a lot of those smite fights where he was able to secure it and make sure it doesn't go on to Kenvi. But the important thing is, at your solo queue level, that doesn't matter a whole lot. But at this level, Aspect needs that mana in order to be able to be relevant in the side lanes. He needs to have it in order to wave clear. And so it just kind of builds upon itself, right? You start off where DeMonte is bullying. He's able to continue bullying because he just has infinite resources in ways that Aspect doesn't.
That's correct. He can't really use his W in the side lane. Aspect can't use this W in the side lane because it's just so expensive as far as mana consumption goes. So taking away that blue buff from Aspect really deprives Aspect of a really important wave clear move where since he's deprived of it, he can't clear the wave and he just gets Dove on repeat.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, Mark. I knew they were taking away the blue buff, but because I'm in the middle of the game, I don't have the wherewithal, like you guys do, to just go over the stuff and realize, all the little repercussions of everything that happens. Thank you, Pressure. That was sick.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that 100 Thieves Academy, when we mentioned how cohesive they were as a unit at the top of the day for this match, is so good at being able to do consistently time and time again. Whereas for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, they didn't really have a game plan to answer back against the fact that Aspect no longer had priority to give over to Tomio so that he could have agency in the game. There were some answers that he was able to get, but Prussian, you were calling him out during our, on the sidelines in our call, that whenever Tomio went to go try to answer back, the profit or the return of the trade was nowhere near the benefits that 100 Thieves were always getting.
That's true. And looking back from Scouting Grounds, just thinking about 100 Next and that class last year, it was absolute trademark. It was the spitting image. 3 of the 5 players obviously went to 100 Academy, Tenacity, Kenvi, and Poom. But Kenvi absolutely ran this game. Something that they were really good at last year was trading vertically across the map, and that really shone through this game. Anytime Tomio was trying to attack bottom lane, trying to attack top lane, what we would always see is Kenvi's on Rift Herald while Tomio's on bottom lane. Kenvi's on Dragon while Tomio's top lane. There feels like no good answer from Tomio, where the side of EGP, the side of 100 Academy know exactly what they have to do, and they're just going to get something on the other side of the map, and they're just consistently winning the entire game. It's win after win after win for 100 Academy.
For us here, we're going to get ready for Game 2 in just a moment. And unfortunately, we can't pull up the direct tweet, but Surdy immediately after Game 2, referenced that, all right, guys, it's time to unleash the LPL aggression, which is, an ongoing meme that, all right, this is where Evil Geniuses Prodigies are about to ramp up. They're about to level up. They're going to challenge, potentially, the meta, the standard picks. And that's something that Prussian, you were talking about earlier. It's like, hey, you know what? Evil Geniuses Prodigies might be one of those teams that they say, you know what? Forgo the Hecarim, forgo the Udyr. Let's put Tomio on one of his comfort picks, the Nidalee, or even the Kindred, and then make sure you have the composition necessary to facilitate a volatile pick like that.
That's true, but thinking about this game, a lot of those picks that Tomio likes to play usually require a lot of priority, something like Kindred, where that Kindred's going to get outcleared, and Kindred needs pushing lanes in order to attack enemy camps so they can get those duels. But the issue is I really didn't see a lot of that LPL aggression this game. There were lanes that had options of getting priority, but the way that EGP were playing these lanes didn't necessarily allow them to get the priority, and I want to see EGP throw caution to the wind and really fight for that. I want to see them fight for priority to bring the fight to 100 Academy, as opposed to EGP's laners just sitting back and saying, all right, you're trading better than me. You can have the push and you can do whatever you want. I really want to see EGP strike back.
I want to jump off of that a little bit because it's such a stark difference what we were saying before Game 1 took off when we saw the draft come out from EGP. We liked it. We said this looks like a pretty standard draft. You take the game a little bit later. You don't necessarily need to fight early on in 100 Thieves. I think they identified the same thing here. And so now it sounds like we're all kind of pushing back against it. It's like, well, this was a good plan previously, but now that we've seen what version of 100 Thieves is coming to play today, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to say that this safer plan isn't going to work, and hopefully they're going to be able to make those adjustments, because that's a tough decision if we already said that we liked their first draft.
Only time will tell, gentlemen. And I do believe Draft 2 is on the horizon. I just want to get a quick double check from our producers to make sure where we are at when, referring to the players as... All right, so we're about a minute away before draft starts, and I kind of want to get any last thoughts from Josh before we will have to say goodbye to him, as me and Prussian will get some more alone time going through the draft phase of the second game. If we're going to be looking at this bot lane where, we saw the Samira in the first pick, it didn't get to pop off and be facilitated the way that EGP probably wanted it. How do they prevent 100 Thieves Academy dismantling them the way they did in Game 1?
I think part of it is the fact that they picked the Samira really early on, right? Samira is a cool pick. It's something that Shiro performs very well on throughout this entire season, but it is the kind of pick that reveals your hand relatively early. You now need to build around the Samira, and it kind of meant that the rest of their picks and their 4th and 5th picks on the blue side needed to be in response to this, whereas Samira, instead, I really want to see it come out a little bit later on, when you know what their support is, when you know what the top lane matchup is, and you can say, hey, Samira is a champion here, I'm going to pop off on it, and I'm going to take this game into my hands and carry it.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time joining me and Prussian on the desk. We're going to say goodbye to you as we get ready for the draft phase here of Game 2. Now, Prussian, as going kind of piggybacking off of what Josh said, we even mentioned it ourselves, seeing that draft come out, the Samira being locked in on the second round after the Hecarim. We were both like, oh, that's really early. Now you can really formulate a game plan from 100 Thieves Academy, which, it wasn't necessarily the plan that you would have been completely comfortable with, but they executed it well, and that's all that matters.
That's very correct. Honestly, I would have liked to see maybe the Gragas flex towards the support position to counter the Rel, but other than that, I was really high on EGP's drafts. The issue all came down to the execution. 100 Academy, and specifically Kenvi, absolutely ran the early game, and he made great use of his laner's priority, and that's something that throughout Kenvi's career, I thought he's always been fantastic at. Just thinking about Copy on 100 Next, another laner that really played for mid lane priority, and Kenvi ran the map with it.
I mean, yeah, Juhan, a.k.a. Copy's already chilling on Cloud9 Academy over in the winners bracket. They're going to be taking their matchup against No Org later this week on the 22nd. We'll have to see if 100 Thieves Academy can get a little reunion with one of their former players and their classmates, as we do have the draft on the horizon for you, ladies and gentlemen, for Evil Geniuses Prodigies. Like Serdi tweeted out, it is time for the LPL aggression to come out. This is where, supposedly, maybe Tomio will be unlocked and enabled. In order to see that in the draft phase, we're going to have to see some changes. Remember, Tom Kench and Thresh were the first two bans for EGP. 100 Thieves Academy, they have no means necessary or any reason to change up the bans since they won Game 1.
That's true. And we're looking at the same bands, and honestly, if we're going to opt in the same drafts, I'm going to lose it, Rafa. I really am...
Salty run back, baby!
There is no world where I want to see another game of Hecker and Udyr when I think EGP absolutely have to do something different and bring something different to the table in order to beat 100 Academy. They have to knock Kenvi off his feet with something surprising. There's either side of Hecker and Udyr, I don't think Tomio is going to do anything.
Yeah. They've already done the same 3 bans, Thresh, Tahm Kench, and Renekton. Now, if the salty run back begins, okay, well, the countdown has begun, Prussian.
Please, man.
100 Thieves Academy, they see the Heckrum's like, all right, well, we can just go with Kaiserel once again, right? There's no reason to change anything.
I wish I could say anything, but I mean, it's like... my life is flashing before my eyes.
I can see the nerves starting to pop out of your forehead, Prussian. Now, the last time they did pick the Samira and the Orianna this time around, I don't think they're going to run their AD carry this early on. No way, man. Okay, so they're going to go for the Alistar this time around. And
redo draft.
Prussian is molding, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my Lord. You're really going to do it.
Yeah, well,
it's fine.
I mean, 100 Thieves Academy, they have no means to change the draft, right? Now, as an analyst, for yourself, if you're in the draft seat right now for 100 Thieves Academy, what are you saying? It's like, okay, well, last time we took away Nocturne and I believe it was the Victor. Any reason to change things up right here?
No. I think we're pretty good here. I'm expecting maybe an Orianna on 4 from Damonte. Maybe he'll just blind the Syndra. That'd be a bit of an ego pick, but I mean, why not? Thinking a little bit, I feel like Nocturne on 4 would actually be quite good for 100 Academy. It would be a really good mid-top flex, but maybe they're just not practice on it.
Prussian, I would love for a Nocturne to come in, but it is already banned as well as the Azir.
That's to what I'm referring.
It's okay. The overlay is slightly dark, and Nocturne does turn out the lights, so it might be a little difficult to see on the screen. But Orianna has been taken away by Evil Genius's Prodigies as well as the Silas, and so that does leave up the Victor here for Damonte.
I'm interested in seeing what Aspect's going to pull out here. Most of the mid laners are just completely off the board. Maybe something like Seraphine into this low range composition from 100 Academy. But other than that, I'm kind of at a blank. It might be something completely different from Aspect, which I would be looking forward to. But it has to be something magic damage because, okay. We're playing this game.
Aspect saw Damonte pop off with the Syndra, and it's like, all right, well, let me get a crack at it this time around. But, remember, that did stem off of the fact that Kenvi was able to facilitate Damonte in the early laning phase with that first blood dive. If Tomio is able to unlock that LPL aggression, as Surdy was referring to in his tweet, the Wukong could also
pick Wukong.
Okay, tell me about this, Prussian.
Well, during Scouting Ground Circuit, Wukong was a very prominent pick. Volibear, a really good answer into it. I don't really like Volibear top lane right now. I feel like there's other answers, but I feel like Tenacity is way too high on himself to just lock in something like Malphite or a tank that's usually quite good into Wukong. So, we're going to meet metal with metal here, and we're just going to pick Volibear into Wukong. And I quite like that, actually. You got double bear synergy from 100 Academy. So I'm kind of feeling this draft.
Check this out, Prussian. Something that me, Cubby, and Smacks have all kind of came up with is when you have Volibear and Udyr on the same team, it's the Berenstain Bears coming into play. Yeah. I think Cubby would always refer to one as Papa Bear and Brother Bear. I don't know which is which, or I don't remember in particular, but, we've got Animal Planet on the top side of the map, 2 bears versus a monkey and a horse centaur thing,
Something I'm thinking about is how is the Samira really going to get her ult off? Because you have Victor ult cancel, you have Rel has a few cancels, you have Kenvi can just walk up, slap you, Tenacity, he has his Q. I feel like this is a really hard Samira game, and I mean, even something like Hecarim, you're just running into a Volibear, a Victor, an Udyr. It feels very difficult for EGP to be able to capitalize on their composition.
Yeah, there's definitely so many easy ways for 100 Thieves Academy to stop Shiro from ever popping off the Infernal Trigger, right? So it's going to be Once again, difficult for Evil Genius's Prodigies to get this composition off the map, but we do have Chilling Walk and Joshi on the side getting ready to take it to game 2.
Let's see it.
All right, much appreciated, Mark. Josh, welcome back. I know you took a good little, had some fun on the desk, and I know that the desk brought that, said this was a salty but run back. I got to be honest, Josh, this is a MSG run back because we'll have to see if they can kind of get the sauce in. Got to get some flavor. We know that MSG is better than salt, guys. Let's make that clear, okay?
Yeah, let's be honest, guys. You don't have an allergic reaction. It was actually a neurotransmitter, but we'll get back into that a little bit later on because we do got a pretty interesting draft coming out from EGP, and I must admit, I echo some of the frustrations that Mark and Prussian had in that entire drafting phase. This looks very similar. We talked about how we weren't a big fan of the early Samira pick because it needs to have teams built around it. You're showing your hand really early. EGP committed to some kind of dive composition basically right off the bat. And while they have some dive tools, it gives 100 Thieves a lot of time in order to build some counter dive. We might already just see a 2v2 just straight up.
All right. Boom and Mist throwing some jabs at each other. Mist taking, of course, some more heat at the back end. But regardless, I gotta add that sentiment too. But I will say I do have some faith on the EG Prodigy side. I think that they're playing the way they can. Mist, I don't know if you want to face check that bush, brother. Back off, take the ignite, and now I'm a little bit worried for EG Prodigy's bot lane.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit worried considering we're seeing the same jungle paths come out from EGP as well, right? You see
MSG.
both Udyr and Hecarim up on the top side, going to be running down towards the bottom side. I think there's a little bit more vision coming out from both of them. You see wards on both sets of Raptors, but you aren't required to go into the exact same route, and we'll see if Kenvi, if after full clearing, wants to make a similar play onto Aspect. He doesn't have the same kind of crowd control coming out from Demonte.
Yeah, in this game we probably won't be seeing these kind of early dives that what Kenvi throw out. So more or less more of a calm kind of game plan so far. I will say though, hopefully we get to see Tomio kind of thrive and have a little bit more of that breathing room that we want to see in game 1, so we can look for more of that early action. Hopefully Aspect can open up Tomio so he can actually operate. Kenvi's legit doing the same thing. I mean, instead of diving in, he's kind of just going to the bottom side.
Well, look at this. He's not clearing any of his bottom side camps. There's no way Tomio knows he's here.
And Kenvi has that smite online too. No idea.
Smite fight. Tomio doesn't even know he's smite fighting.
That's a heist! Oh! That's a heist! Living up to 100 Thieves' name. You're going to whack Tomio away too and push him out of the jungle. Supports are coming in from the bottom lane, but Kenvi, he is living up to 100 Thieves' name.
Look at this. Kenvi is only sitting on 15 CS. He knew what kind of pathing Tomio was going to go for. He skipped one of the small Krugs up on the top side so that he could be here on time. These are like 100 Thieves. I don't know who's making their early game playbooks, but they are doing a fantastic job, right? You throw the right hook, it's a feint, you throw the left hook, and then you're actually just going to go for the uppercut because they have no idea what's going on with all these mix-ups.
That's an adaptation right there, Josh. Love it. Why not from 100 Thieves Academy? Kenvi, of course, in Tomio's mind. And that's what usually happens. We talk about optimal plays left and right, but, yo, if you know what they're going to be going for, you know what the path they're going to do, you can easily establish a counterattack, and Kenvi's definitely doing that. So, but I like game 1, Josh. EGP. Tomio, mainly, is going to be a little bit on that back foot. Hopefully he can recover that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too far behind, right? He still is able to clear most of the rest of his camps. He's now going up on the opposite side of the map and getting some vision down. So, unlike in previous situations, there is a little bit of counterplay. And oh, he's just gonna. Is he not gonna take this? What is he gonna do?
He wants the bear.
It feels like a really weird timing.
Animal Planet indeed. Tenacity is trying to fight Surdy. Of course, we know that the bear wins this early matchup. Surdy got to be careful. Flash comes through. Tenacity's going to win it. A little bit too early, my man, from Surdy on the top side. Tomio, of course, takes on Tenacity, but Tenacity won that fair and square.
Oh, yeah. And this is a spot where we're going to see both top laners likely teleporting directly to lane. We definitely see Surdy. He's got to pick up all this experience. But Tenacity, he's going right back up there because he can't afford to just let Surdy freeze his wave up against him. So this is an opportunity. Both junglers on the top half of the map, they have a decent idea on where the other one is, so we might just get another fight.
How crazy that 100 Thieves just know where EG Prodigy is. Poom's in the mid lane. Of course, he scouts out Mist. Kenvi on the backup. Not gonna look to jump in. Probably gonna look to take these chicken nuggets for Kenvi himself, unless they want a double cheeseburger on the side. But instead, no, they just want for the chicken nuggets. They want a good little happy meal for themselves.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So EGP already finding a little bit of counterplay, right? Tomio recognizes that he got a little screwed based on the initial pathing, goes and helps his top laner find a kill in that whole situation, but now this is the difference in jungle tracking that we're seeing coming out from Kenvi and Tomio. Tomio is resetting, and that's just an opportunity for 100 Thieves to pick up the dragon. And look at this, this is why Volibear is really good into the Wukong. You play at low health really aggressively, but Tenacity has both a big heal and a big execute coming out on his W, and unfortunately Wukong just not able to match it.
Even though Wukong has faster frames, fortunately that damage is going to hurt a lot more. You know, you can't be training blow for blow. You usually want to outframe that person. I'm Surdy, but we'll have to see if Surdy can come back. He does have a CS lead, though, which is going to be good in the long run, as long as he can just maintain that kind of state. But so far, we're back to more of a patient game outside of the one-on-one bloody fight on the top side. And 100 Thieves, of course, taking that dragon as well. So they're still setting themselves up pretty good.
Yeah, we're actually seeing a bit of a slower pace coming out from 100 Thieves, and this is interesting, right? Because I feel like they actually have a better slow game this time around than the members of EG Prodigies. They gotta be looking for some of these early plays with the Wukong, because it doesn't necessarily have the same kind of late game impact. And Volibear, you know, it wants to play early on, but is happy to just be this big old health bar for the rest of your team, get some stuns down, and just be a nuisance in the middle of a lot of these team fights, whereas Wukong needs to be able to kill these members.
Well, it does go for 2v2, but Aspect got a face check into Kenvi. Tomio is around the corner. Is going to go for a good scout of the week off of the ultimate. Kenvi is going to be the one who takes down, and EG Prodigies find an optimal counterattack in the game 2.
Yeah, there you go. Run, stun. Unfortunately, job's not done. You still got to get out of there this time around, and this is going to be giving over a lot of freedom to EGP. Yeah. And this is, you know, it looks kind of like game 1 in reverse. So it is a big situation where these teams, you know, I didn't think it was going to be such a blowout from 100 Thieves, which is why I was so impressed with game 1. But EGP, they don't have as large of a lead as their opponents do, but they do have some real opportunities to get some plays, especially now that Tomio.
Kenvi!
Are you still 2-0? He's still 2-0?
Yeah, but Kenvi took the red buff, dude! He took the red buff away from Tomio! That's unfortunate, man. Yo, Kenvi, actually a thief right now.
Wait, this is interesting. I didn't realize that Shiro like walked all the way up to mid lane.
I think they want to go for. They probably want to go for a Rift Herald play. They have opted for this a lot. The one thing that is a little bit scary though is that you know, you sometimes with the bot side priority, Shiro has to go back and pick up the wave. Take a look at top though. They want to tackle Surdy. Everyone's on top lane.
This is very tense, right? Mist is here. We're gonna go for a fight.
Well, Surdy wants to go in. Same thing with Mist. Same thing with everyone else. But Tenacity comes in with Stormbringer. That's not going to do it. As right now, Kenvi's going to be the one tackled down. The We Bears duo is not going to handle against Animal Planet, man.
You got too many coming through. You got the whole zoo from EGP coming out in this fight. Now, this is where they got to find some counterplay. Do they find anything? No. Pooh misses the W.
Shiro's also 6, but no, Shiro! Back off. Okay, he's okay. He's okay. Just take an Ignite. EG Prodigies, though, they are winning. That's a good thing, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. This is big, right? The team that is playing these early game compositions right now, they're the ones going for fights first. They're the ones finding opportunities, and Surdy picking up 2 kills off of that last fight. Suddenly had a small lead to play with, is massively far ahead. And I was worried when Tenacity had this big ult come through, land on a whole bunch of people, because he bought a lot of time. Unfortunately, the damage from the Berenstain Bears just isn't there at this point. You don't have enough damage to come through against all these members. They're just too thick with extra Cs.
Extra C.
Yeah, extra Cs.
Extra C's, alright. How many C's is the question, Josh?
We'll find out. It's going to be... We got plenty of time left on the clock to figure out exactly how many Cs.
Alright, we'll see which one can get all that animal fodder in themselves and make sure they are looking plump as they tackle the rest. I think Surdy still losing that one-on-one, though. You know, and Tenacity's still winning it.
Yeah. I mean, stat check, right? You got a stat check champion against a stat check champion, and even though you got a couple of these kills, it doesn't change the fact that Tenacity has sustain built into his kit, and Surdy does not, right? It's just opportunities for Tenacity to kind of bully, get some free pushing, because he's able to do it without expending any mana, which can give him some priority, but we haven't seen a whole lot of play from Tenacity on the rest of the map just quite yet. So it's just kind of net neutral when all is said and done.
We'll say, though, even though Kenvi is down 0-2 right now, he's doing a good job on that farming game. Still out-farming Tomio by good amounts. But EG Prodigies, they're putting a lot of attention on this mid lane, man. They're pulling the Alley's gun right now, Josh.
That doesn't make any sense in this context, Will.
That's mid 3v3s, man. Come on. That was the
What?
context of chess.
What?
This is what it is in EG Prodigies, man. Come on.
Alec
you gotta work
is
with me here.
a rook, and a queen. That's not 3v3s.
That's the queen right there in the mid lane. You got the jungler and you got the support. I don't know what you're talking
Those
about,
aren't
man.
rooks, but we'll get back to that. We're seeing EGP trying to make another aggressive play.
Luger, tackle 2. Killer 6 away. Onslaught Shouse is going to whiff because Luger flashes away. So, EG Prodigy is going to be burning some resource from 100 Thieves. But let's get him that priority for the second Drake that's popping up. As Aspect and Demonte going to be duking it out for just a bit.
It is a pretty big resource trade, right? You lose the Onslaught of Shadows, but you get Luger's Flash and the Killer Instinct out of it. And now EGP first to the punch on this Dragon, but are they going to be able to maintain their position? Tenacity's on his way first.
Kemby, you going to steal this again? Kemby, you going to steal this again? You're going to steal this again, Kemby! Why you got to be a dang thief right now as he takes the Dragon and we have another fight coming through? 100 Thieves, see if you can make it out. EG Prodigies, had to see if they can run away. Aspect gets taken away. Poom has to flash over the wall, but take a look at the pit. Shiro has to pop off. Unfortunately, the info trigger isn't going to work out. 100 Thieves. You steal so many red buffs. You steal that Dragon, Kemby, and now you're going to try and steal away EG Prodigies' last chance of coming in game 2? Come on, bro.
Yeah, we asked what the Samira was going to do at the beginning of the game, Will. How is it going to get its ultimates off? And we see it doesn't get to have a whole lot of play in this game. And the fact that 100 Thieves are now turning this game around after we spent so much time praising EGP for their early game aggression is a crazy turnaround. Just like, look at Shiro throughout that entire fight, right? We ask, how is it going to get his ults off? There are too many bits of crowd control. And of course, you know, Kenvy's got a pretty sick steal here, getting the second smite because, you know, it's tough, right? You have to try and metagame your opponent over and over. But Shiro has to get out, comes back in, gets a little bit of damage down, and he just ends up having to use his ultimate more for survivability than anything else because there's so much crowd control. He doesn't have any other way to get out because he uses Flash to get over the wall in the first place. And at the end of the day, the Samira that they drafted so heavily around in both Game 1 and Game 2 falling a little bit flat.
Back to a neck and neck now, Josh. Gold lead, near similar. No, kill lead, near similar. Only thing that's making up for 100 Thieves right now is those two Dragons on their end. Geoprodigy's course, they're going to chop some win back for themselves and try and take this top out of turret. So they're going to back off and leave it as is with some standing gold.
Yeah. I mean, one thing we got to pay attention to, though, is where the CS differentials are. Pretty small in the top lane, pretty small in the mid lane, but the jungle and the AD carry both pretty heavily in favor of 100 Thieves. And while neither side has taken a full turret, the plate gold ends up kind of canceling out. There's one in the mid lane being picked up for 100 Thieves in Demonte versus Aspect, 2 in the bottom lane for 100 Thieves, and so the gold ends up coming in a bit net neutral when all is said and done once again. And so as we move later on to the game, we said EGP needed to be the ones to make some of these plays. They got the Wukong on their team. They had the Hecarim, who had 2 early kills. Fortunately, again, they're not able to find a whole lot further. They're not able to find a lot of these plays that we were saying they needed to, and this was a thing that we saw in Game 1 that is now in the second book of the series.
Good thing for EG Prodigies, though, is that in Game 1, in this game state, they weren't at the same pace as 100 Thieves. Knowing that 100 Thieves was just swinging right off the bat. In this game, I think EG Prodigies have a chance of making sure they can, slug it out with 100 Thieves on the same level. But right now on the map, Josh, Dragon isn't going to come back up in 2 minutes. Baron, of course, isn't going to be up anywhere close. And so far, even that, no turret's been taken, too. Just elongating that landing phase so that both these teams can just get some bananas.
Just get some bananas.
Yeah.
I guess 30 is in the game. It is fitting. But going back to the Dragon Point a little bit, right? You got your team fight timer. A little less than 2 minutes left on that. The other big thing we got to pay attention to is the value of these mountain dragons. As Mist trying to find something onto Luger, but Luger does have the Killer Instinct available to get himself to relative safety. The mountain dragons are so big for the side of 100 Thieves that they are able to continue chaining these objectives. You look at Syndra, you look at Wukong, they gotta burst people up, they gotta get a kill and find that man advantage early on, or they will tend to fall behind in terms of consistent DPS, the members of 100 Thieves, and EGP gotta find plays between now and the 4th dragon of the game, or it might be too late.
Right now, though, 100 Thieves gonna be flexing on EG Prodigies on the top side to see if they can get that second Rift Herald control on over. Helmet went back to base, so more than likely I would assume that EG Prodigy's team shouldn't be looking to contest this. This, of course, just gonna say hi to Poom, say hi to his fellow animal.
Yeah.
Poom is riding.
Yo, everybody's here again.
I don't know if EG Prodigies want this. They're down to 2K, so 100 Thieves should be looking to take this for themselves, and they do. So they are going to back away, unless EG Prodigies want to go for a punish on Kenby. Skylar Week is going to be used, but it is going to get whiffed because of Kenby flashing away. That does mean, though, that flash is going to be gone for this Dragon.
Yeah, 40 seconds left, 30 seconds left. This is big, right? 40 seconds is your last time in order to get your back in and be at this Dragon on time for the spawn, right? And we're seeing that the members of 100 Thieves aren't really backing. I'm not sure how much gold they're actually going to be sitting on at this spot, but it looks like interestingly enough, they're opting to make the gold play rather than the objective play. They want to pick up this turret, they want to get the gold in their pockets, and in exchange, give over priority on this Dragon to the members of EGP. But once again, we said, what were they saying? 100 Thieves are so good at making this cross map.
Look at Sardi, he's trying to go on to Luger. Luger's going to kill her instant away. This is a 2 versus 3 right now. Sardi's doing a lot of damage on the squad of Kenby as Kenby gets taken down with Aspect with the Scout of the Week. Boom, has to get back on the horsey, make sure that he's riding the carousel at safety, and he will do so.
All right, excuse me. It looks like EGP are looking to be pretty good at the cross map at this point. They expect 100 Thieves to be going for this play, and they punish them for it while still hitting the Dragon. Tenacity walking over. Oh, no. Okay.
I was going to say, Tenacity, you about to try to be like Kenby and try and make a heist, but now Tenacity in the back of the one. Can he take down Shu? He does!
Oh.
That's not a heist, but you're going to take away his life. That's definitely a way to answer back if I'm 100 Thieves. Now, Miss is going to be the one trying to see if he can make out alive. Demonte going to take him out with the laser that he has. Tomia running away. They definitely get the Dragon, Josh, but Tenacity stole Shiro's life.
Oh, man. Well, this is crazy. This entire game, just like seeing how even these guys are is... Well, this is what we were expecting. This is the kind of gameplay. Yeah. I mean,
League of Legends.
Yeah, this is exciting. Just like watching 100 Thieves go through and challenge EGP, and EGP challenging them right back. Even here, Demonte, his back gets stopped. I don't think he needed to necessarily to back, so they don't do a whole lot other than get a little bit of damage down. But they are willing to nickel and dime each other all over the map in ways that we did not see in Game 1.
That's where I enjoy confidence and skill expression, you know? Of course, the safe way is to back up, but if you can call them out, if you can skill check them, if you know what they're going to do, like what Tenacity did to Shiro, it works out at the end, and that's where I enjoy watching players test themselves in situations where they are confident in. And this is where the Dragon comes through. Of course, Shiro takes it, but Tenacity, he flexed on Shiro, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, I mean, Tomio, he was speculating about a gank in the mid lane, runs off and makes it a bit closer than we were expecting it to be, but this is, again, why we were not excited about this pick previously.
Sorry, in a 1 versus 3, Luger already dropped down low. Sorry, going to take him down. He's already on a rampage.
Okay.
Gets healed up. Aspect here to back himself up, but Kenby can go down. Tenacity's going to slam his paws on top of the monkey, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 for both top laners as they both pick up a kill.
Ooh. Okay, Demonte's going to have to walk out here, taking turret shots.
Should be okay. Tomio coming back in. He's actually going to trample on top of him. Demonte caught out of left field. Unfortunately, EG Prodigies do get one back in, so it's going to be good for them.
Yeah, alright. EGP got play. They still got a lot of play in them. It was a little bit sloppy from 100 Thieves, and EGP do a good job punishing. I'm a little bit curious as to how that fight actually started, but Tomio...
Okay.
Okay, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
Calm down, everyone.
Everything.
We thought they were coming close.
Like, all these little things is getting so nervous because we just don't know when they want to go in, right? It's where usually you kind of look at players and when they want to flex and they want to go in, because Tenacity, of course, goes in EG Prodigies. They're not afraid of going in. That's why we kind of get nervous sometimes.
Yeah. And this is also surprising too, right? You look at the difference. We noted that there was not a large CS differential in the mid lane previously between Aspect and Demonte, but Luger.
Look at this. Yeah.
That's bold. That's very bold.
Yeah.
Coming out from Luger. Just saying he thinks he's strong enough to just be the tank in this whole situation, and you get a lot of people down here. So it's okay. But the big thing is Demonte ends up walking the unsafe way, right? That's not where you get your groceries.
Illegal.
Gotta go around.
Yep, can't be moving that way.
Sorry.
But so far, even then, only a near 1,000 gold lead. That's favoring 100 Thieves. On the other side, they have a kill on top of their end. It's legit neck and neck, man. This is where I enjoy it. Dragon's coming up in the next minute 30, though. Josh and Baron, of course, starting on table, but I don't think one of these teams is going to be looking to fight that right now. Because I think this Dragon's going to be a big pivotal point for one of these teams to get that advantage.
Yeah. It's worth noting, comparing Kenvi from this game to Kenvi from game 1, right? The difference, huge.
Changes.
0, 3, and 4 at this point. He was a massive tank and a huge problem last game. This time, he's reasonably strong, right? He's still farming quite well for a jungler. He's able to be part of these fights and does always have that guaranteed utility in his stuns, but he's not going to have the same kind of durability. He's not going to have the same kind of damage as we saw previously, and instead we got to look to members like Tenacity and Damonte to have a larger role in this game than we saw in game 1.
Speaking of Tenacity too, of course he's looking like the big Papa Bear. Kennedy's looking like the small little teddy bear, but he loves building this itemization, Frostfire, Black Cleaver, and the Ionian Boots. The city just to get more cooldown for himself. This is what allows him to actually duke it out against 30. But he always opts for this build. 9 times out of 10, I never see him build something entirely different.
Well, they're giving him the choke.
Oh.
What we were saying about Syndra last game,
Yep.
Syndra is insane at controlling a lot of these chokes. You get stuns across multiple members, and 100 Thieves, I praised them for their slow positional play previously. Now, they're starting to look for some of these flanks, but they are not playing together just quite yet, and the Dragon only a couple of seconds away.
Tenacity want to tackle Sturdy on the
Can
move
he?
too, but unfortunately missing it. 100 Thieves are definitely getting choked out. Dragon's already on the table, Josh.
It is, but no one's hitting it just quite yet. And 100 Thieves are maneuvering, right? They are asking EGP the questions like, what do you want to do with this dragon? Unfortunately, 100 Thieves don't have the information to actually walk in here and wisely walk away because they know that they can't walk through any of these blind bushes due to Syndra that is undoubtedly standing behind one of them. So, 100 Thieves, at least they're going to be getting something on the map. They trade the time hitting the dragon for time farming everywhere else. But 2 Mountain Dragons going over to EGP suddenly makes Surdy and Tomio and Mist way harder to kill.
Oh, and we're going to have another bear versus animal kind of action. Teleports coming in. Sturdy's going to activate the Cyclone. Smash comes through, but Sturdy's still relatively healthy. Damonte is here for the backup as he can tame both bears coming through. But Sturdy's going to fall down. Kenvi not going to fall down to the turret, unfortunately, as Damonte changes up with the numbers advantage.
All right. Okay. So they're still getting a little bit back, right? There's still a lot of play left in this game. They trade the dragon. They use the fact that Damonte is on the other side of the map to kind of bait the members of EGP into a false sense of security. They thought that they could go for this fight, but once again, just a trap coming out from the 100 Thieves. And as the gold lead is still pretty small, right? It's just about 1,500 gold. The game still hanging in the balance as this victor scales up.
And that's legit nothing, man. 1.5k at this point is, just some components that just makes a little bit of a difference. And, I don't think in this game components is going to change a lot, Josh. It's about that execution like what happened in game 1. Of course, we need to see Shiro if he can execute. He's been one of the main people that is unable to activate that Infernal Trigger. Of course, he still can find those openings if he becomes patient and disciplined on when he wants to get it.
Now the question is, well, where do they fight next? Is it just around these dragons? Is that what these teams want to prioritize?
I don't
They
know,
just
man.
want to start playing around the Baron? Or do they want to start taking a lot of these turrets, right? Because there's a much better opportunity for both these teams to actually line up in Siege than we saw previously. Victor does a lot better job at this than we saw like the Orianna previously. You can actually be aggressive and look to poke people down.
The one thing
That
that
said,
I will say, though, Josh, is that these teams they haven't really played for blowing summoner spells or blowing resources outside of the early laning, and that's something that both these teams are more defensive of. We don't really see whom going for some heavy engages using Magnetic Storm to blow Shiro's flash, or on other side lanes. So that's one thing that I wonder if one of these teams is going to pick up of blowing spells before big fights were to come through. We just haven't seen that yet.
I think that's scary, though.
That is,
Yeah.
big risk.
In this game specifically, it's kind of scary, right? Because it's the kind of game where both these teams are hard to determine if they're going to be just like skirmishing a little bit, like is there actually only one person, or are they going to teleport their entire team here and suddenly it's actually a 5v5 that you weren't ready for. You just thought you made one small pick, and I think that's kind of a big reason why we're not seeing that as much, as we are kind of stalling out, right? We're in that bit of a lull state for this League of Legends game, and we're going to start getting a little bit more fighting as this next dragon spawns in about 2 minutes, because neither team... you're seeing 100 Thieves starting to consider going for the Baron, but it's not, like, high on the docket yet.
That's why I enjoy it, though, because both these teams are 100% down calling each other's bluff. That's why we don't see them, play for summoner spells and blowing those resources. Like you said, man, You know, if you jump on me, I might just call my backup, call my homies to support me, and vice versa. If I jump on you, you might call some friends up too. It's pretty much a touch and go.
Yeah, don't mess with me and my boys.
Yeah, that's what both these teams are saying, man. You got hashtag Live Evil Squad versus the hashtag Heist Squad. Who's to say who's gonna win?
We'll see. Demonte doesn't have teleport. Aspect up in the top lane. All right, you know, both teams is going to be backing away. Again, they're just kind of testing each other. Just see, like, how many people are actually here. Oh, okay, I see your jungler's also here. All right, I'm going to back off. Don't want to make any unnecessarily risky plays. And it's just interesting. I wonder, right, you know, there are a lot of people who talk about the ability to freeze in these longer lanes. And this is a spot where you got to be very cognizant of the choice that you're making. If you push it out, you can get priority and actually get to the dragon, you know, on time, but you're going to let your opponents get there early, and you're trading a little bit of tempo for a little bit more gold. And if it gets you a breakpoint, it can be worth it. But look at this, 100 Thieves, 50 seconds out, bring all of their members to bear first. Now what do they do with it?
Definitely want to fight out this mid lane, Josh. See all of them. Want to play some ARAMs coming in. Mid fire is definitely a valuable thing, though, for both these teams.
Yeah. I say this a lot. Tempo is a currency. You don't win by having tempo. You win by having tempo and doing something with it, as we see Tenacity getting caught out by multiple members.
Yeah, but he a big bear. The second bear's coming in. Teddy Bear's trying to come through. See if he can tap the monkey. But then look at Sturdy. This is what we talked about. 100 Thieves already down to back up the fellow homies. Luger's going to pop down to take down Sturdy. And now we look at EG Prodigies. They have to back away. Miss is going to be the sacrificial cow on the squad. Kevy goes golden at just the right time. Is he going to make it out alive? He does. He flashes away. He gets the heck out of dodge. Miss falls down away. We look at Tomio. He has to gallop his way out there. Sturdy's going to go through with the Inferno Trigger, but unfortunately falls down because he gets stopped in his tracks. Aspect has to waddle away. He got some balls, but look at Tenacity, look at Demonte. They flashing forward. He's going to see if he can try to slam everything down. They are running through, but they may have overextended Aspect. Throwing some balls back. But again, EG Prodigies, they're going to lick their wounds and back off.
And look at this. 100 Thieves are going to reward themselves by bringing more boys to the yard, by also picking up the Mountain Dragon. They've been trying to get this for a long time, and finally actually going to secure this objective for themselves.
Oh, no.
Teleport. Whoa, maybe they don't.
They want to come back with a counterattack. Sturdy's already here. Aspect is going to get taken down, but I'm not too sure if this is what EG Prodigies want to go for. Sturdy, you were in a 1 versus 4 revenge story, but I don't know if you could take down the rest. Tommy here to back up as he is on his left. Unfortunately, Sturdy's going to fall down, and he's going to be taken down as 100 Thieves. They're going to be taking some more kills.
That was bizarre. That was really weird, Will. Like, the only way that makes sense in my mind is if they don't know that Kenvi has already started hitting the dragon. They think if they get here now and stop them and stall them, they buy time for other people to respawn. But 100 Thieves one step ahead. Kenvi didn't respawn. He's Udyr. He's got a lot of extra sustain built into his kit, but we see the exact thing that we were talking about earlier. You can't go for these skirmishes without knowing that they're going to end quickly because of how long it takes to kill all of these frontliners, right? Tenacity, Kenvi, still alive after all of this, and this is the last thing, right? That's the last time that they see Kenvi walking off. They think he's backing. Surely he's going home. He's so low, he doesn't have any HP. Instead, he just runs over to the dragon because he has the confidence to make sure that he's not going to die to the jungle king.
It's so tough, and this is what I talked about, man. Both these teams, they love swinging. Discipline is a big thing, and I think we saw that lack of discipline from Sturdy and from Aspect and from Tomio. Trying to go for it. It looks like they may have found a catch. Nasty. He's going to be the one who gets taken down. Finally, they tackle him, and that's a big bear. This might trigger EG Prodigies to start the Baron, and they are, Josh.
They used a lot of resources for that. I don't know if they still win this team fight. Demonte can come up. He's got his teleport, but what do they want to actually do? 100 Thieves, they're now going to commit to go for this team fight. And remember, no ultimates on Syndra, Hecarim, or Surdy.
4, 3, Kenvi over the wall.
Don't do it, Kenvi.
Who starts the fight. We want to see if he can go for another steal. They're pausing at 2,000. Real smart from EG Prodigies. They're going to jump the wall. 1,000 left. And looks at that. EG Prodigies finally take the Baron in. 100 Thieves. Do they want to continue? Boom goes in on all 3. Goes for a Magnetic Storm. Gets a good stun. EG Prodigies, they have to run away again every time they fight these neutrals. And they take it. They're losing on the back end, Josh, as more members on Prodigies are falling down. Luger going to fight a 1 versus 1 against Sturdy. He does take down the monkey. But only one person left on the Baron. It's only going to be Tomio.
Oh man, they can't keep getting away with this, Will. That's another time that they go in. Can be so close. He got hit by the blast cone, but it wasn't enough to get him over the wall. I think that's the only thing that prevented yet another instance of Kenvi finding a smite victory up against his opponent. And even though they grabbed the Baron for themselves, they go net neutral in gold so far because they're trading over multiple turrets, giving over 4 kills for tenacity, I guess you can include in that whole sequence of plays, and this is where 100 Thieves are starting to make their mark.
You look at EG Prodigies, man, they know that Kenvi could steal these things, and you saw the discipline that they had on that Baron. They left it at 2,000 HP, which is usually optimal when it comes to stalling that Baron steal. But my God, so much patience, and they recognize that this is where teams start recognizing tendencies and start recognizing what the opponent is good at. And actually stole 3 things away from Tomio. If you don't want to lose this big one again, and you just pay attention to all these things that are happening.
And it's important to watch how Mist actually plays this. He channels the Hex Flash in order to get it over. Normally, you just do this to hit the Blast Cone, but he thought he could headbutt Kenvi away. And look at that, like, I don't even know how he got caught on the wall in that situation, right? That's how close this whole situation became. But Luger is strong, Demonte is strong. They couldn't get onto the back line, and it takes too long to kill all of these tanks that both teams are bringing together. You need to be able to establish battle lines, and Luger strong enough at this point to overpower Surdy's Wukong while the monkey has no ultimate.
But I'm enjoying what EG Prodigies is going for, man. From the time we saw them when they came in through amateur to now, these guys have evolved a lot. And even though they're on a little bit of the back end against 100 Thieves, you can just see the decision-making that is coming through and the adaptations that they're going for. And these guys are raw. These guys are young. These guys want to show up on the world to take some names. Guys, I don't know, man. I think EG Prodigies, they've already taken some names right now.
Yeah. I mean, the initial parts of the game, right, we can credit pretty heavily to the coaching staff. 100 Thieves Academy have been having a fantastic early set of plans, right? They know what they're doing for the first couple of minutes, a little bit better than EGP, but at this point, this is not a situation where we can talk about the differences between amateur and academy in terms of any kind of resources that they might be giving to the teams. At this point, it is just 100 Thieves players having better instincts, knowing how to move on the map a little bit better, and that experience paying off as they're setting up now for the Mountain Soul.
Boom's going to push out Surdy away from the bottom quadrant. But, that Chaos Storm actually knocking Mist down real low. That actually might be it, Josh.
Yeah.
Mist has to walk away, and EG Project, I think they recognize that they don't have the ability to fight this Mountain Dragon, so unfortunately they have to give this solo point away.
And that's big, once again, right? It's kind of touching on what you were talking about, trading and making these fights in order to pick up summoner spells. You can do it just to chunk out your opponents. Demonte, never at risk through that entire sequence, was able to get space, was able to chunk out a single member, and even though Mist didn't die, he has to leave. That's still a 5v4.
Yep. Good recognition from both these teams, EG Prodigies recognize that they can't go in that fight, otherwise they are going to lose. But back to the other point, Josh. And now EG Prodigies, they have better tools compared to Game 1 and now looking at this Game 2 where they can contest. They have the ability to actually try and take this. One X factor that has been coming up in this game, though, is Kenvi with them smites, man. He's been clutching these steals so much.
True. Yeah, I mean, the one other thing that I do want to highlight is we keep pumping up Shiro as this big player, as a really good Samira, and typically we think it's a justified pick. He's able to find all of these pop-offs, get a couple of quadra kills here and there. I think he got a pentakill at least once during this entire circuit, but the big thing here is he's 0-4-0. He's basically invisible in this game, and I'm worried that even with such a standout performance from players like Surdy and Tomio in this game, if you're just kind of missing your AD carry, it's not going to matter if you're just playing a 4v5 in this game. And I'm not saying Shiro's playing poorly, right? I'm just asking, do you want to be picking the Samira as early in the draft as you have been and forcing yourself to play this style while your opponents are still so adaptable?
I mean, they picked Volibear, they picked Udyr, they picked Demonte, champions that can basically stop that
from my favorite champion.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking at the name, man. They picked Victor. Apologies. But yeah, you're right, man. Shiro, it's pretty tough for him to go in. He has the items to do so. I was getting him stopped. Whoa, okay. Tomio! All right, he's going to go in. This is where
Okay.
EG Prodigy's going to pull the trigger onto a numbers advantage. Might be catching these off guard, but they are ready to slug it out. You take a look at everyone else. Literally no one with low health bars until Shiro comes in on the backside. Yeah, see if he can take a go. Inferno Trigger's going to be activated to make sure he stays alive, but we look at everyone else on the board. Tomio's gone, Aspect's gone, Shiro's out to see if he can make it through. Luger's still perfectly healthy at the back end. Off of EG Prodigies, going in, Quadra comes out big. I don't know if Luger actually wants this pentakill as 30 is on the back end. We take a look, though. EG Prodigies, they pulled that trigger first, and they bit the bullet.
Oh, man, the power of Zonia's is so good, dude. Watching DeMonte stay alive through that entire thing. It's one of the things about like these big, beefy guys that are hard to pick. They are hard to pick because they are hard to kill, but they're also hard to pick with because they don't have the damage to do it.
Yep.
We saw DeMonte live for just so long in that entire fight. Mountain Soul a little bit helpful, but at the end of the day, 100 Thieves just moving around the map a little bit better, picking their fights a little bit better, and that small difference between these two teams that play so similarly is compounded so much in Game 2.
Definitely a better game from EG Prodigies, and they were holding their own for a very long time, Josh. Again, it's just those small little things, small little decisions that kind of swing everything back to 100 Thieves, and I think we saw the breaking point at the end where EG Prodigies, where they brought Sturdy back in with a teleport, they brought Aspect back in. I think that just may have been the tipping point for EG Prodigies when it just came to harnessing that patience. Because we take a look at that fight, they should have backed off, but they were like, "Nah, man, we want that dragon," and unfortunately, they lost a lot of it from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a spot where we're looking at EG Prodigies and we're asking them, how are you going to be winning this game? You need to be able to make plays. They tried to do it a little bit in Game 1, but unfortunately, most of the proactive things they tried to do were cut off by 100 Thieves playing the macro game and outplaying some of these smaller things. Here, we saw them try and do something similarly where they wanted to make proactive plays. They had a super strong Hecarim, but weren't able to capitalize. They weren't able to transform that lead into a larger one. And so, EGP backs up against the wall. Do they want to run back a similar draft for the third game in the row, or are they going to be changing it up?
Sometimes, Josh, too much MSG can actually ruin the dish. So I'm wondering what EGP wants to do, man. I don't know if they want more MSG. Maybe you want some other kind of flavor components coming into Game 3. And maybe
Give some sriracha.
Maybe they want to throw some sriracha in, throw some spice into that mixture because it is Game 3. We'll see what happens. Get that sriracha, get that hot sauce coming in, dabble some on that popcorn that I said in Game 1, and we'll see what happens, guys. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're getting ready for Game 3 between 100 Thieves Academy and Evil Geniuses Prodigies, but I have a little bit of a complaint. When Riot hired us to get on for this broadcast, we were promised 5 games. But the way that the games are playing out right now, it might just be a 3-0 from 100 Thieves Academy. So Evil Geniuses Prodigies, I know you guys, your back's against the wall, but I want to see something new, man. There's got to be something, because 100 Thieves Academy cannot just continuously getting away with this, Will.
I don't know, Mark. It's like watching two people play a fighting game. They're picking the same characters. 100 Thieves, they're just playing 20% better. I think at this point, EG Prodigies need to go for a character swap. They need to change something up, because this game was the biggest neck-and-neck thing I've ever seen. Kenvy, of course, just winning on some smites. EG Prodigies, you can see that EG Prodigies know what they want to do, but they just don't know what the next option is going to be after they complete that decision. Where you look at 100 Thieves, they know the exact option of what happens once that flowchart comes through, and it's just working out for them, man.
That's true, and I've got to give a little bit of credit towards EGP, because this game was dramatically closer relative to Game 1, and I'm kind of liking to see where this direction of the series is going for EGP, because even if they do lose Game 3, just because of this Game 2, I think that they might be able to exit just with their heads held high, just because of how close it was throughout this game, and I was not anticipating for them to be so competitive this series, to be fair.
And I want to clarify, me coming in a little hot, giving EG Prodigies a little bit of a hard time, because I know these guys are super talented. These kids are so amazing at being able to play on the Rift. And it's just, coming to a point in this matchup where, like we pointed at the beginning of the day before this match even begun, is that these two playstyles are very similar, and it just happens to be that 100 Thieves Academy have had more experience, they've had more time to become a more cohesive unit, and Evil Geniuses Prodigies, they're finally meeting their match, and this is where the time has come to see if they can rise to the occasion and overcome this obstacle. Otherwise, 100 Thieves Academy are more than ready and more than poised to take this match here, Prussian.
That's true. Throughout the early game, I was a little bit worried, because I thought we were going to see more of the same from EGP and 100 Academy. So even though Aspect actually got the center this time, the Victor was still capable of getting priority throughout the early game, and Kenby took away Tomio's first red buff. And after that, I was like, oh, poor Tomio, man. Like, it's just going to be more of the same. We're just going to get Aspect being shoved under his tower over and over again, and Tomio's going to lose out his entire jungle. But EG Prodigies did a really good job striking back at 100 Academy. They did a good job trading around the map, and there was even an incident on the top side where they sent Misstep. Even though Kenby was shadowing for the counter gank because it was a really obvious support roam timer, they got overwhelmed really quickly by the 3-man gank onto the top lane, and that gave Surdy a really big advantage in the early game. But unfortunately, at the first dragon, I think that EG Prodigies didn't do a really good job at playing around the side of the map that they were strong on. They turned towards the bottom side, and they tried to go for that dragon, and Poom just got an insane realm gauge onto the EGP core and just completely shattered them. And at that point, 100 Academy got back in control of the driver's seat, and they sort of ran away with the game.
I like to
No, Will, you were.
Oh yeah, sorry,
yeah.
Mark. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
you're good. You're good, man. I was about to set you up. Don't worry, man. I was about to say, Will, you were mentioning before we got back on air that, when Evil Geniuses Prodigies, they had that window, they were able to turn around the 3-man 2 gank that Kenby was supposedly waiting to set up as a counter for, but, whether they got a little overconfident on them being able to take that 2-on-3, Surdy got a massive lead. But that's the difference between Evil Geniuses Prodigies in this series versus 100 Thieves Academy. When Evil Geniuses Prodigies find that lead, they're able to translate it, right? Or they're not 100 Thieves Academy, they're able to translate that lead. Evil Geniuses Prodigies are struggling in that area.
And that just kind of goes back to what I'm saying, man. 100 Thieves just kind of know what they want to do once they complete their mission. And that's where we look at EG Prodigies. They complete their missions. They know what the first, second, third steps are. They just don't know what the fourth, fifth steps, sixth steps, everything else onwards comes after that. And that's where we see these kind of two playstyles clash back and forth. And that's where those small little things kind of change everything else up. And we take a look at the top side. You mentioned Surdy, getting a lead, but not being able to push it. That's where Tenacity, of course, having that backup that, as you said, it just looks like 100 Thieves know when the offensive option is going to be coming through from EG Prodigies, and then when they do, they recognize that, we have a solid counterattack. Whereas we look at EG Prodigies, it looks like they're just not ready for the offensive plays of 100 Thieves, or they're not ready for the defensive plays 100 Thieves are ready to tackle back, and that's why Josh and I were talking, like, they don't want to blow any summer spells or force summer spells because anything can just result in a fight, and we saw that happen.
Impression, I think you wanted to jump in. Looking at this draft again, I know you were a little disappointed, with how much of the draft had been kind of replicating the first game draft. Shiro going back to the Samira in the second round of the ban phase. But, if this Samira is coming through for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, if that is the strategy, if this is going to be the center of the composition, then Evil Geniuses Prodigies need to execute better on being able to actually play around and empowering this Samira, because otherwise this pick doesn't seem to be working out well for them.
That's true. I'm not a big fan of the Samira. If you're blue side, you're opting into playing the Hecarim versus Udyr anyway, I would rather blue on the Kai'Sa, to be honest. I mean, your 80 carries DN Kai'Sa, right? So go for the Kai'Sa, go for it.
And just take it away from Luger. We've seen him already, quietly, even though he's not the main receiver of a lot of the resources. This game was really a double bear differential in the top and the jungle role, and the Berenstein brothers. Berenstein pairs duo coming in through for this Volibear and this Udyr pick. I know we were a little questioning on the Volibear when it was locked in. I know, Prussian, you said that, honestly, you could pick something like a Malphite to fit in, but Tenacity went off on the game. He looked amazing on it. He was eliminating Shiro from every single fight that he interacted in. And for the rest of the game, Shiro on the Samira, if this is going to be the centerpiece of the composition, and the centerpiece is already gone from each fight, then you're kind of running out of options on where you can actually fall back to in terms of being able to find a way back into the game.
And that's where we look at EG Prodigies, and I kind of wonder what else they have in their playbook, I don't want to go back to Prussian saying, Shiro always doubling down on the Samira, this Samira. I gotta agree with you. I'm still not a big fan. I think you gotta either wait or just wait to see what the compositions are. But EG Prodigies, it's like dang if you do, dang if you don't. But for me, it's also like, that's cool if you want to run the same composition, because it means that you still have some fight in you. Or do you want to pull out some tricks and see if you can save this game 3? It's such a weird position that I'm in, because I'm down for either, but then we just need to see that execution come through, man.
And, Will, before we let you go, as we are going to get ready to toss it over to the third draft of the series here, potentially the last one, if 100 Thieves Academy are able to walk away and 3-0 Evil Geniuses Prodigies today, if you were in charge, if you were able to just sit in the coaching booth, I know because you have had some coaching experience yourself, if Evil EGP are blue side again, do you follow alongside of what Prussian was suggesting? Just if Hecarim and Udyr are both open, go for the Kai'Sa first on the rotation and then set and build a composition from there? Or do you have something else in your mind?
100% I agree with Prussian, man. If Kai'Sa, both these AD carries love Kai'Sa. We take a look at their most picked outside of Samira, like Shiro's most picked is Kai'Sa. Why not pick that Kai'Sa for yourself? The biggest thing, though, that I would say for EGP, outside of just changing some small little tweaks, I would actually just kind of stay with the same game plan. It's probably the biggest thing that what EG Prodigies has. Maybe just some of these champions just don't operate when being properly set up. And if you just change some of these little tweaks, maybe it works out. And then from there, just trust the players to perform and out-execute the opponent. Because outside of this mirror being picked up, everything else is just coming down to execution. And I think this game is showing that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us before the third game. Go ahead, give Joshi some love, and a little fist bump for us from here on the analyst desk, as we'll be throwing it to you once game 3 starts up. But hell yeah, let's go.
There you go.
When the twin powers activate, baby.
Yeah, there you
go. All right. Well, bye, Will. We'll see you in a bit. Now, Prussian, you and I, man, we're going to be getting into this draft phase in just a couple of moments. You and Will echoing the same thoughts, change it up. Focus and prioritize that Kai'Sa for the first pick, knowing that, hey, they can only pick one or the other, Udyr or Hecarim, right? So you're guaranteed to get the other. It doesn't really seem like the Hecarim priority over the Udyr has really been netting you any advantages in the early game, despite the early lead that we saw, because they weren't able to translate it, right? And so, once again, the ban phase has begun. So far, nothing new from either team.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like a broken clock, no? I mean, I'm expecting the Nard ban. Udyr ban.
Let's go. Some changes. All right.
So I think 100 Academy will likely have to ban the Hecarim.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they're just going to let it go through. Because Kenvi is a jungler known for having these counter picks available to him. Like, I haven't seen anything specifically into the Hecarim so far, but okay, there it is.
Thresh is open, by the way.
Thresh is open, Kai'Sa's open, and both these champions are pretty crazy. I'd rather see the Kai'Sa, to be honest.
Okay,
but
okay. Wow.
Blue 1 Renekton.
Surdy's saying, you know what, Tenacity, you're not going to get the Crocodile. I want to lock down the early priority in this top lane matchup.
I don't think this is good.
Oh, man. Okay.
Kai'Sa, I mean... And then Lilia, yeah. So I don't know if Tomio is even going to play into the Lilia because he doesn't have like the Kayn. He doesn't have the Nocturne. I think he might pull out the Nocturne. I feel like that's a more Tomio pick.
Sure. And
maybe he'll pull out the Rengar. Okay.
Well, the Nidalee. Okay. So all right. So
Renekton Nidalee.
Yep, Renekton Nidalee. Now, something that we were talking about before the top of the match and just our preparation for the day, we were talking about the overall scope of Proving Grounds teams across the board. Nidalee and Renekton, there's not many teams overall in this tournament that I've played that can play these high-tempo strategies such as the Renekton and the Nidalee, because you need to be on the ball, very active early on, being able to set up the level 3 wave that allows you to dive and being able to get the stun down and being able to unlock Surdy and Tomio on the map. Something that really only NoWard has been consistently good at, and in cases on 100 Thieves Academy as well, because we know Kenvi and Tenacity have run this back when they were on 100 Thieves Next.
That's true. And if you want to talk about LPL aggression, I mean, this EGP team has it in droves, right?
There
I mean,
it
you have
is.
the Renekton Nidalee. So I'm curious to see what Tenacity is going to use to answer it. We have Dan Kai'Sa on the Kai'Sa, Shiro's Kai'Sa. Absolutely great pickup. And I want to see, is this going to be a Tristana mid lane or a Tristana bottom lane? I feel like it's going to be a Tristana bottom lane, certainly. Orianna is available on the R4 for 100 Academy, so I'm curious to see if EGP will ban it or just handshake the Orianna versus Victor matchup that we're used to. Either way, I mean, maybe Demonte would like to go with a physical damage mid laner here in order to get easy priority for the Lilia, but I'm not certain. What do you make of this, Mark?
Well, you're the analyst. I'm coming to you for the questions, but
That's
still,
fair.
I will say the only insight that I can give you as just a jungle main is that this Nidalee Lilia matchup is very volatile in the fact that Nidalee has a lot of lethality on the Lilia early on, but you need to be able to get that snowball rolling, because if you don't do anything early on as Nidalee, Lilia just outpaces you in the jungle, and then the utility she provides is just far greater than what Nidalee can bring, because I mean, all you got are spears that can be negated by investment into some magic resist, as well as some heals that are like nowhere even near like that amazing. It's not like you're getting like Soraka level heals. It's just like, all right, cool, attack speed buff. And so for 100 Thieves Academy, I feel like all they have to do, which you've mentioned before, is that they have to play the scaling game. If they're able to get tenacity onto something that is safe, which EG Prodigies already identifying with that Scion ban in the top lane, then tenacity can negate any of that dive pressure that EG Prodigies are going to try to be able to do within the early game.
Yeah, and this R4 is kind of a tumultuous pick for 100 Academy, because they're stuck either having a double magic damage mid jungle 2v2.
Gragas is great here.
Yeah. Gragas is pretty safe from a lot of these dives. His sustain's really good. Yeah, it's pretty safe wave clear. I'm wondering, it has to be a physical damage mid laner coming from Demonte then, or else you're stuck with a 3 magic damage topside, which is absolutely criminal in my mind.
Yeah.
Maybe the Tristana is going mid then, but at that point, I'm not sure who would be going bottom lane. Maybe even something like a Sivir would be pretty good here. Leona Luckton, really good pairing with the Kaisa. It's really good with the top side too.
Also, Nidalee.
Really good setup. Yep, exactly. Insane roam setup.
I think I would say it's fine if EGP locked in something that is magic damage for Aspect, because you already have the physical solo laner, and you're probably not focusing mid lane. You're probably going to focus top lane. So I wouldn't be surprised if you pick something that is roam centric. Or you know what, Aspect is going to throw down the gauntlet.
I like this.
He heard us talking mad about his performance in the series, saying, you know what, screw the control mages, I'm playing the Jace today, baby.
I like this, because even if 100 Academy send the Tristana into the middle lane, Jace actually has a really good time into the Tristana. If he takes exhaust anytime that the Tristana jumps in, he's going to... it doesn't even matter, because it's going to be the Lucian. Now, this is absolutely crazy.
This is a spicy mid lane matchup.
From the middle lane perspective, I'm not saying this with absolute certainty, but I'm pretty sure for the early levels, Lucian should be able to get priority for the early game, and that will give Kenvi a pretty easy time. Plus, you have the jungle mid ult synergy with a Lucian ult not waking up people from Lilia sleep.
Yeah.
So is that a Renekton middle lane?
Yeah. So that didn't even cross my mind that that they could have flexed it around, but it looks like Aspect is actually going to be taking the Renekton into the mid lane. So this makes... So this is my question to you, Prussian. Does this make dives harder because Jace does not have hard CC to set up in Nidalee Spears, right? But you can poke Tenacity out from far range, so maybe that is the angle that they're going for.
I am going to go on a limb here, Rafa, and I'm going to... I really don't want to see EGP do this, but I think that this Nidalee might be focusing bottom side.
Okay. I mean, you have the Leona, right?
There's just an inkling here, exactly, because I don't think that Nidalee is going to have a very easy time diving the solution. So I think that they might just be trying to Zerg rush 100 Academy's bottom lane. Granted, I mean, Tristana and Alistair, that's not like an easy dive, but if you're capable of just sending 4 people into that lane, it doesn't really matter what you have, right? You're just pretty much going to die. So I'm really interested to see what angle of attack EGP choose with this Nidalee.
Yeah.
Because they have options, to say the least.
Yeah, they have options, but even with the Renekton lane, it's not the easiest thing in the world to dive a slippery champion like Lucian, but the game 3 is ready. So Chilling Walk and Joshi, take it away, gentlemen, for the call.
3 seconds until minions spawn.
This is crazy. It's somewhere around. I could probably find it. It's still not going to be as spicy as this game at this point, Walk, because it's just like everything is coming through. And I know some of you guys in Twitch chat were like, oh, I wonder if this Renekton's mid. I had that thought in the back of my head as well as to whether or not you could do this, because you could. You could have swapped this Renekton top lane. This Jace could have played mid. But the big thing about all of this is it's going to be really, really tough for EGP to make these dives work, and crucially, they have to make them work. Yeah, okay. Oh, he spots them. Yeah. Alright. So, yeah, this is kind of interesting, right? There's a lot of tech in terms of like early pathing in the jungle that has kind of disappeared in terms of what you're actually going to be doing in the jungle, where you can start with raptors, you can have your bottom lane hit the red buff while you do the raptors. There's a lot of different ways to play around this, and this is just one of many that we saw that has kind of disappeared. It puts Aspect a little bit behind, but he was never going to be finding a pretty large lead in terms of the early couple levels against Amante anyway.
Yeah, honestly, just curious to see what they can do. I'm kind of liking this little tech, though, because usually we do see Lilia start Raptors for full clear, but instead Kemi's just going to be starting the red for himself, and then looking to loop back down the bottom side. I am curious, though, because Prussian had a little sniff that told me it's going to be going to the bottom side and putting attention there. Well, I'm actually curious to see where Tommy wants to go for now, because he could go for mid, Renekton and Nidalee, of course. He could go for bottom. Honestly, I could see him going top lane, too.
Yeah, I mean, the other way, right, like Leona's might be your best setup for the Nidalee, but that doesn't mean you have to go to the Leona, right? The Leona can go to the Nidalee. There are options available to EGP. They can play the map, but the big thing that I think has been kind of a consistent pattern so far in this series is the fact that EGP, they want to make proactive plays, they need to make proactive plays, and they haven't necessarily been having success with it. Tomio here in the mid lane, I don't think he got spotted. I don't see any pings coming out on the map, and this is still going to put him behind in tempo. Look how much faster Kenvi has been clearing.
It is one of the issues of Nidalee in this matchup, that Nidalee unfortunately just can't clear as fast as the Hecarim, the Udyrs can't full clear before the first crab that spawns up. But though we're going to see a little bit of a 2-on-2. Poom taking the worst send depending on how much this bomb's going to do. Yeah, Poom's going to be losing on that. They're both going to be eating some potions, so see what happens.
Yeah, I also want to highlight a couple interesting things coming through. Luger opting to go with the exhaust once again this game, and he did this last game, and it's been the thing where he's been able to do it in order to reduce a lot of the burst coming through. And when you look at a team composition like EGP, where heal might be a little bit better later on in the game, just reducing the burst early on and preventing yourself from dying means that you're not going to need the heal as much later on. It's a similar way to where Graves picks up the ignite in some matchups in the jungle, just because he wants to be really aggressive and he needs the power now rather than the longer term power.
Right now, Josh, both supports just looking for some roams around the mid lane. I feel like EG Prodigies, they want to put some attention down here onto Demonte to make sure he gets taken down. But so far, Aspect...
I say both supports.
Yeah.
It's just bottom lane.
Oh, misses bottom lane now. He was around mid lane. He was around the corner. Ooh! Everybody's going to land, but a good buffer from Luger to hop away. And still, whole team's still chopping wood at the meantime.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, leaving Tristana alone, Will, right?
Yeah.
Because Tristana, relatively safe. But
Relatively. Yeah.
part of the problem with Tristana is that she can't freeze.
That
right?
is the issue.
You can't hold the turret or the wave near your own turret. You have to push it back out due to the explosive shot, and you end up putting yourself in dangerous spots.
They want to see if they can go on shield, but they don't know that Tomio's around the corner. Luger has to flash away. Luger does not have the rocket jump. Teleport's coming through, but the backup's coming in. Boom's going to be the one who gets taken down for first blood. But double TP's coming from 100 Thieves. Kemi's around the corner too. Shear's going to follow Slave as Demonte takes him down. We take a look at the rest of the squad from EG Prodigies though. Backup has arrived. Small little focus coming back through. Aspect takes down Demonte, but he's really low. Can he make it out? Good pulse! Actually, good body step from Nasty. Gonna knock out the Alligator. Sturdy in enemy territory as he's trying to see if he can find a snipe, but unfortunately, Tenacity, bobbing and weaving, gets a double kill for himself.
Man, Will, I hate to be like so pessimistic about a game, but this is a game where EGP need to be ahead, and they gave over 2 extra kills with a team composition that's supposed to be a better skirmishing squad at this point in the game. They're late to the teleports. I don't know how it is that both of the members of 100 Thieves solo lanes get here first. I don't know how they're able to do this, but they're able to bring both members here. They get more people on site first, and it ends up meaning that by the time Sturdy comes in, he has no mana.
Yeah.
He has very little to actually do after the fight is going down, and it's not enough coming out from EGP, and this has just been the entire series.
Just that's what I've been saying, man. It just seems like 100 Thieves are just ready for the
Oh, no.
defense. Aspect wants to go on, but they don't recognize Pooms around the corner, man! This is what I've been talking about all day. 100 Thieves just recognize they got the download of what Prodigies wants to go for. And every time Prodigies are looking for something, 100 Thieves, they already see it from a mile away.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, like, they have a much better plan. They have a much better idea of what it is that EGP are going to be doing, and they're one step ahead yet again. Poom can be sitting right around the wall, exactly waiting for Tommy to show up, because they know, just as well as we do, that EGP are up against the ropes, and thank God that actually ticked down to go over to Kenby, because that's one of those things that you just look at, and you just kind of be sad if it doesn't go exactly the way they plan it to.
Yeah, and Tomio needs to have some sort of action, Josh. Oh, I'm sweating, man. Like, we got EG Prodigies. They threw a lot of spicy picks, you know. But I'm definitely sweating for them. I feel like they're sweating too because they understand what's at risk. You know, if they lose this game, that's pretty much it. No Civil War for the next sequel. Sturdy, of course, has to burn his flash against Tenacity from the explosive cast too. More reasons being burned left and right from Prodigies, and options are slowly falling away.
Yeah. It's worth noting, too, that every time you go for a trade up in this top lane as Jace against Gragas, you have to get a larger trade because Gragas has sustain. As Jace, you do not. He's already burned through all of his Corrupting Potion stacks. He doesn't have his teleport available. He just had to use his flash, and suddenly this lane that you're expecting to be picking with power doesn't have it and is now just vulnerable on the map. Can be already heading up.
They would definitely want to punish Sturdy as much as they can. And Kimmy did this in game 1, man. Every time that he wants to tackle the topside quadrant, Tenacity's already ready. Monte, of course, can easily move because he's playing Lucian. So, Kenby's going to be looking to take the crab. Usually Prodigies are slowly moving up, but we'll have to see if they can sniff it out.
Yeah. And I also want to highlight in these situations, right, we look at EGP and it feels like only 8 minutes in, it might already be hopelessly lost. But this is how these kind of compositions play, right? This composition could very easily be 5-2 and instead be up 2,000 gold.
Yep.
It's why I look at a lot of these and I don't like playing them personally, because what happens now? You're 8 minutes in and you just say, hey, we have to be even more reckless than we were before. We have to be looking for even crazier plays than we did the first time in order to get back into it, and you feel like your back's up against the wall, and Sturdy literally up against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, Sturdy no flash, Tenacity, of course. Not going to go for the kill. Sturdy's going to be looking to poke him out, but... Whoa, Explosive Cat comes in! Sturdy! Oh! You know he's not going to make it to Rush Hour 3, Josh.
That guy's not going to be in Rush Hour 3, yeah, that's for sure. Sturdy, unfortunately, going down in this lane, right? Like, you pick this,
yeah.
I think the idea was that they want to take it away as, like, this Renekton counter pick, because it does quite well into the Renekton, right? You're able to trade pretty effectively, you're able to be aggressive as the Jace. Unfortunately, you are now forced to play a Jace, right? Where if you can't support it, if you're going to instead be playing towards the bottom half of the map, you kind of get left in awkward spots where you can't take aggressive trades and become this vulnerability like we said previously. Boink.
Bop.
Bonk.
Twist.
Bop it.
Bop it. Josh, that's why I'm curious. Before I get to that, though, I'm going to take a little bit of a trade. Blade comes in.
Oh, Tomio's here.
Tomio's here, but
can be.
Mista, unfortunately, doesn't have any more spells on the corner. They want to fight over this dragon. It's going to be the first one. As, looks like they might be able to take it if they spot Poom backing off away. Pressure blowing a lot. They may have found Kenvi. That's going to be one target. That's definitely a person that they want to go for. Cougar wants the Venison. Hands it over to Shiro. That's the jungler being down. EG Prodigy's finally fighting back.
Yeah, and this is the thing that 100 Thieves and EGP are both aware of, right? EGP have to go for these kind of plays. They have to give up a lot of this farm in order to actually try and find these skirmishes, to find some avenue back into the game. And 100 Thieves, you know, we've done a good job at praising them to respond to the way that EGP have been playing. They know that EGP need to make plays, but this time Kenvi thought he was safe, didn't respect the fact that so many members of EGP were standing around this dragon and could potentially punish him, and one of the few mistakes they've made so far this game.
Oh, they want to go for Tenacity, but Aspect going to flash forward, burning Tenacities as well. So, Tenacity does get out of dodge. But, Josh, that's what I'm wondering if I'm looking at EGP and them picking this Renekton Nidalee when we mentioned earlier. You know, this is a composition, this is a duo that 100 Thieves have been notorious for playing and have been used to. That's what I'm wondering. Even though you did take this away, are you putting yourselves in a back foot because you are playing a duo in a composition that your opponent just knows from top down?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Luger
Oh.
has no idea Shiro's in this bush.
Oh no. Okay, good. Bust shot to get him out. Shiro's going to come back in. And Luger actually picked up exhaust instead of the heal too. Shiro's going to flash forward. He does have the red buff, so that should be able to do it. Catching 100 Thieves off guard is the name of the game for EG Prodigies right now.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves can't be giving them those kind of plays. They can't be willing to take these risks. They just need to let their composition be better later on, and this is good. They're first to the move now, but do they catch mist? No, they're just going to have to back away. But this is the kind of crazy gameplay. Expect farm numbers to be really low this game as EGP stand in weird bushes, get weird spots for wards, and just go for dives that you weren't previously expecting. And they found 2 of them. They're crawling back in, but the rope that they're using to try and pull themselves up still looks pretty frayed.
Real of this rope sometimes, Josh. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we need to see what EGP can do. I think this is what you kind of have to do when you're looking at the Prodigies team. You have to go for some high-risk, high-reward plays, throw in some wacky mix-ups to kind of swing it into the favor. But this is where it gets really tough, because sometimes if you do it too much, the enemy gets downloaded, they understand tendencies, and 100 Thieves, they've done this before in Game 1 and Game 2, where they recognize the options of EG Prodigies are going for. At this point, if I'm 100 Thieves, all I have to do is just open up your mind and see what EG Prodigies are seeing on their end.
Yeah. It feels like playing a carnival game, right? Like, you go there, and you know it's rigged. You know that you don't have a lot of chances, but you got to pull up on these ropes anyway to see if you can find a way to get to the other side. And you know, he's pulling it, the rope will twist over, you know, you'll suddenly be trying to crawl up upside down, and it looks weird. It's great content, right? You get great opportunities for these big plays, but EGP are not in a spot where they can easily do so, and they gotta make like these weird dives, like, this is so weird.
Yo, Shiro! My God, you kind of threw Puma out for a whirl, but Explosion Shot's going to come through. Good heal from Tomi to make sure that Shiro stays alive. Shiro, he's coming out for some vengeance. Josh, that was confidence.
Didn't believe.
He did. They didn't believe, man. My God.
This is the Shiro we want to see, right?
Shiro.
The Shiro who believes, I am going to outplay this guy. I'm going to make plays he doesn't expect. I'm going to find these kills, and that was fantastic. Now they need to do it somewhere else, too, because Kaisa going up against the world, I mean, Kaisa's one of the champions that can do it, but when you have this Jace who's 0-2, not going to be having a whole lot of prospects, your work isn't done yet. You still need to continue finding some of these crazy plays.
Oh, but Demonte is trying to see if he can gun down Shiro. One more shot will do it. That's a shutdown coming in. Shiro overstaying his welcome a little bit.
Right, but I find it hard to fault Shiro for this.
It's not
right,
bad.
you know,
Same.
Yeah, you gotta get that extra wave. You gotta be greedy. You gotta try and make these plays, because if you just let yourself play standard, you're gonna be giving over too much. Demonte being in the right spot at the right time to punish it.
These defensive reads of 100 Thieves just coming in real good. I read it recognizing this guy's going to back off. He's probably going to grief for this. You know, but Dragon is going to be coming up on the board, Josh, real soon. 45 seconds left, and EGP, they have to, I feel like if I'm EGP, you have to kind of find a pick before this Dragon gets started up. It's good that they're on the second ritual right now, as that could be used as a way of just pressuring the map or as a decoy, being tossed in on some sort of side map, a side lane, but see what they can do. Uh-oh. Woo! Okay.
Whew. All right, walks
right.
out, walks out. Okay.
Yeah.
But the big thing here is, right, like, notice the fact that they are giving up farm. Nobody's farming the bottom lane. Surdy, by the time he gets here, most of that wave will have disappeared. They need to give up a whole lot of resources in order to find different kinds of leads in the game. And you're starting to see that almost every position, except for bottom lane, because Luger's gone down a couple times up against Shiro, are starting to fall behind significantly in terms of just passive gold income that they're getting. And with Surdy being alone here, he has no turret, and you have to have an idea that there's going to be a lot of 100 Thieves members on this bottom half of the map. We'll see whether he's going to be playing greedily or if he's going to try and play a little bit further back.
Dragon is going to be going over to 100 Thieves as Tenacity is, as Surdy is going to walk away. Right now, they do have their sights on Tenacity on the top side.
Okay, good.
Turret's going to get used. TP's coming through. Spear's not going to land, but 4 members are coming up. He's actually going to try and catch Aspect. Ultimate's going to be used. Dominus being burned through. Tenacity in the middle of 4. He's a big boy. Speed and weight isn't going to change that, though.
Yeah, but this is it. This is the question that we always ask. Is 100 Thieves going to be able to get more on the rest of the map? EGP are impressing the hell out of me with their ability to actually find so many of these plays when we've been asking for it the entire series. But they're giving over the mid lane turret. They're giving over the bottom lane turret. Rift Herald is dead, so they can't get anything further. And when all is said and done, they pick up 2 turrets. They pick up a kill, but they're going to be giving 2 turrets right on back. 100 Thieves maintain about the same size lead that they've had for several minutes at this point.
Both these teams looking for a lot of trades. Solar for the disc is used.
Okay.
Unfortunate that Shiro misses the Plasma Fission onto Luger, because I feel like he would have just gone right into trying to assassinate his opposing AD carry, but or else that's one of it's being blown from the EG Prodigies team.
And you know what that was coming up from Mist? That was one hell of a bluff. He
Yeah.
did not have backup.
No.
He did not have members around him to actually make that play work. Right? But he's just saying, you don't know that. You don't know where my
Mind
other
games.
team members are. Did they back now? Yeah, this is the kind of thing that EGP are able to do, and if you can convince them that you're stronger, if you can convince them that you have people to back you up, you're able to get away with a lot of these plays. But still, 2,000 gold down, you're looking at this Tristana that's trying to scale up, you have this very strong Gragas, this very strong Lucian that you have to contend with, and EGP, we've said it, I sound like a broken record. Well, they got to keep doing this.
That's called conditioning, by the way, if you guys don't know. That's called conditioning. If you make them, if you force your opponent to kind of believe in something that you're consistently doing, that's when you throw that mix-up in. Because sometimes Mist can be throwing those solar flares left and right. It's like, oh, these guys aren't going to die eventually. But now this is where Mist wants to die, because now he has the backup. Luger almost gets incinerated by the Acathian Rain as we look at EGP, that conditioning helping him out as now they're looking to take down this middle outer turret.
Yeah, almost got a little bit unlucky. I don't think Mist was expecting Poom to be on the opposite side of the Zenith Blade there at the very end, but it ends up working out. They get themselves a turret, they get themselves a little more. Luger struggling right now as is Tristana, normally relatively safe, but still, you can burst it out with the redundant crowd control that Mist is bringing in. Less than 1,000 gold now separating the two teams after the turrets are traded. EGP right back on in this, and I just have to ask myself, where has this version of this team been for their whole series thus far?
Just needed some Carolina Reapers, Josh. That's all they needed, man. They needed to throw some spice into the mixture, and right now they're kind of, everything's boiling, everything's sizzling. The question is, are they going to make this a good dish in this Game 3? You know, are they going to be teasing us with this little appetizer that they're designing? Now we're going to get a full course meal to Game 5. I'm starving now, Josh. I'm getting hungry.
We still got plenty of gameplay left to go. Don't worry about that, Will.
Yep.
But I want to bring up something that I haven't touched on. Now that the gold is relatively even, relatively speaking, EGP actually have a secondary way that they can play the game. They have Jace, Nidalee, and Kaisa. They can poke from so far away. If they can convince 100 Thieves to just line up in siege, and they can control the flank so that Tenacity and Poom can't find a way into the backline, they can start transitioning from this crazy style into a more controlled one that I tend to think of EGP as in the first place.
And that's where that's why we put so much emphasis on the early game, because you need to have these limited options, these direct ways of playing if I'm EGP to open up these avenues. Because I know you mentioned about that poke composition, but Josh, they can also potentially 1-3-1. You know, you got Surdy, you got Aspect. Tomio can just hover around the side lanes. Shiro can hop in on the side lanes too if you were to get ahead. That's where we look at these early game aggressions early game kind of team compositions, those options start becoming a lot better to play through if you get that early game lead.
Yeah, they can, right? If you
can.
have that early advantage, it's definitely a thing
Exactly.
where we would
Yeah.
like to see Jace be able to
would.
side lane up against Tenacity, but it's hard,
In this
right?
game,
Like Jace, yeah, this game is going to be very
hard
difficult.
now.
So I like the idea, but now I wonder how strong EGP are feeling. They see that they're up a kill, they see that the turrets are even, and the gold relatively even as well. But Surdy backing away, he's going to have to teleport, but I have to imagine he's got his Muramana completed on this back.
How much you feel yourselves, EGP? How much you want this dragon? You definitely
Okay,
want.
there
Surdy
you go.
definitely wants it. Teleport's coming through. Back to
Yeah.
a standoff, those Josh.
Yeah. 100 Thieves want to force this issue. They don't want to just stand here and let
Dragons at
Nidalee
4,
Spears and
3.
Shock Blast rain in,
Romeo.
and boom.
Knock away. Tommy's gonna go golden, sitting at 1.7. But are they gonna pull the trigger? Tommy wants to go for a steal, but look at Kenby.
Oh,
he's
huge
going for a
sleep.
gigantic sleep. Everyone's gonna go night-night right now. But look at Luger. He's on the back and he gets taken down by Aspect. And look, we have to see where Shiro is going to be at. He's actually gonna back away. Tenacity's gonna hop over the wall and take him down. Both 80 carries are now gone. Only Tomio and Aspect can try and see if they can win this. Tomio, he wants this, but Nasty, speed and weight's gonna help him out as he going shuffles through. Actually gonna burn down at the back end. Unfortunately, EGP is gonna lose out on that dragon, and 100 Thieves, they're gonna maintain themselves in that driver's seat.
Oh, man. I mean, that's what we were saying. EGP wanted to take it slow, but 100 Thieves do what they need to. They force the issue. They require a response from EGP, and this team doesn't create these strong battle lines. They need access to the back line, or they do not function, and we did not see them have an opportunity to do that. Once again, Will, 100 Thieves playing the position better than their opponents. They know what their win conditions every single time one of these dragons is spawning, and they are executing it over and over again.
Mad patience, by the way, on 100 Thieves squad on that dragon. It was sitting at 1.7. Tomio was kind of caught between two members. The wall and the rest of 100 Thieves of what the decision is going to be. EG Prodigies, they're here first. They're starting this 22 minutes in, Josh. This is a
Bold.
Hail
Okay,
Mary.
I don't know if they know where Luger is, but teleport coming up from Tenacity. This is
Okay.
an opportunity for 100 Thieves to get this fight.
4K. He's not in the pit. 3K now.
Culling.
You can't get in the pit. It's 1K. Finish comes through. Explosive cap comes up, but there's
It's
a
so
lot more
low.
members in the pit right now. Everyone's going to attack within Aspect, and Aspect's to walk away. Shiro has to get out of here, but he falls down. Tomio's now over the wall. EGP, they're trying to do their best 100 Thieves cosplay, but right now,
Oh, does it stop him?
they
It
stopped
stops him.
Aspect. Oh no. Good night, Alligator. Gives him a thumbs up.
Oh,
Demonte
Demonte?
takes him out with a triple kill. EG Prodigies, appreciate the effort, guys, but my God, what a Hail Mary.
Yo, is this a repeat of what we saw in Game 2? Again, four
Yeah, dude.
people for nothing end up dying in order to pick up the Baron, and yeah, you take it off the map, so 100 Thieves can't use that to siege against you, but you're giving over
Oh,
this
no.
huge gold lead. They might take the last Baron off.
Oh, Surdy's gonna go through, but he gets exhausted at the end. Gets stunned up too. Surdy flashes forward. He's gonna take it through. Can he try and take down the count? Nah. Puma's gonna slam his hands down, knock him up, and that's all the Barons off of EG Prodigy's plate.
Yeah, was that worth it from Surdy? He gets
No.
the kill onto Luger, but Luger is 0-5, and that's
0-5.
the last
Whoa,
Baron
whoa,
buff, but
whoa.
they find Kenvi?
Why are we still fighting EG Prodigies? Kenvi walking away real fast. Plasma Fission's not gonna land.
Whew.
Holy cow, man. EG Prodigies, they want to make sure that they are not afraid of going down without a fight.
Well, this game was close. I was so excited for EGP. I thought we had another opportunity for them to potentially bring it back, but they go so low. I like the confidence, but the execution here, you gotta look to burn, and they do that. They get the burn, but you gotta scatter. You can't take this fight. Run for the hills, boys. But you're all trapping yourself in this pit. You don't get very many members out, and beautiful heads-up play coming out from Kenvi to lock down Aspect as one of the last members trying to exit this fight.
Man, it was tough too because you look at Surdy and how he was playing that defense, preventing that Baron to come through. He only had two people to knock away. Do I knock away Kenvi so the smite doesn't come through? Or do I knock away Tenacity so that explosive cast doesn't come in? You choose for Kenvi, and then the explosive cast comes and it knocks everyone else low. Romeo getting a nice
Okay.
spear. Stridebreaker comes in, biting him on the neck. He bleeds out and gets 1,000 gold for himself. You Prodigies, though, they want some more blood. I can see it. Cold Foot comes in.
Yeah, this flank.
Boom's gonna get stunned up, activates the ultimate to make sure he gets invulnerable and he gets that resistance, but many members are surrounding him, so Boom's gonna be falling as well. Yo, EG Prodigies, man, they are still swinging. You want to swing some more, Tomio? Oh, he wants to swing some more. Hopping over the wall. Cougar versus Deer. Deer's going to make it out. He's not going to get the prey today, but they are going to get this middle inner turret.
What is happening? There was a 4,000 gold lead for 100 Thieves like a
They're
minute
swinging,
ago.
man. They are swinging, Josh. Loving it.
And now, how do you deal with this? You got Jace, Nidalee, they do so much damage. Leona can set you up just to blow up a single target with all the poke. But, come on. One auto attack, please.
Ooh,
okay.
Okay. Explosive Cast gets used to push EG Prodigies away. Actually, you want to go for a punish, but not going to work. 20 seconds left on this dragon, Josh. I'm surprised they can't reset off this. If they do, they're going to give away Salt Point. That's a decision.
Yeah. Okay. This is good. They catch Demonte?
Oh, they reveal their position. They want to go on Poom. I'm not sure if this is the right target. Poom's going to flash on the wall. Aspect uses the Dominus. Sheer goes in with the Killer Instinct. They have found the cow, but they burned a lot of resources for this, Josh. And now we look at 100 Thieves. They're making their way towards this dragon.
Okay. I don't know if 100 Thieves actually want to hit this dragon. Like, they can
are.
DPS check it. Oh my god, they have so much DPS. Not even close, baby.
My god, 100 Thieves, they stealing a lot, man. Why you gotta live up to your name? They're always stealing these things, but EG Prodigies, they want to go for some more. Soulfred's gonna land right on top of Demonte, but he goes golden. Tenacity coming in back in to make sure his quarterback stays alive. Miss gets back in, but he gets tackled down at the wayside. 3-man sleep coming in for Kenvi. Hops over the wall. Now we see Sheer, he falls down. Only Tomio left, he's gonna go down too. Double kill comes out big, and we take a look at Sturdy. He's gonna get stuck between all members. EG Prodigies, you guys overextended, y'all gotta pay for that.
In a 4v5, 100 Thieves come out on top. They get the dragon. They get 4 kills, and they lose nobody in that sequence. Man. This is the difference that we've been looking for. This is the 100 Thieves we want to see consistently. And now as they run down Aspect, the only question is, what else do they get on the map?
Oh, no, man. Yeah. Definitely going to get some farm in the mid lane as Aspect has been falling down on the wayside. Ping-ponged away. Like a little thumbs up Aspect. He knows that, he's going to be losing up. Take some farm for himself, get some money. But you look at on Thieves, they're stalling this kill. They're stalling this death timer. My god. Aspect, he realized that he has to walk in the turret to make sure he actually respawns back in. This is a 45-second death timer, Gosh. Aspect ain't going to be up anytime soon. He has to walk himself to the Baron, which coming up in the next minute.
Yeah, okay. Can be once again scaring me a little bit in that whole situation, but... the 45 seconds on Aspect when he dies, like, the idea is neat, but you're not actually getting a whole lot for it, right? Okay. There is nowhere else where that Aspect needs to be, and unless you find a fight in the next 20 seconds, like, he is going to come back up, but just watch how this fight actually goes through and how difficult it is for EGP to take a lot of these team fights as they try and come through these chokes. Luger completely untouched, and he has not been having a good game. He has been struggling to get onto people, but now suddenly he's able to come alive. He's got his items. He's able to hit these people from so far away, and when there's no threat onto the back line, EGP's composition does not function.
Back to where EGP is back, having their backs against the wall. They made some incredible moves 28 minutes in, and they swung it. They definitely gave 100 Thieves some black eyes, but at this point, EGP, they have to see if they can approach this Baron as Surdy is on split push duty.
Yeah, see what he can do. Tenacity still very strong. Got the Gargoyle Stone Plate. It's going to take a long time to kill him, and he can transition from like being this big damage dealer that he has been historically, or throughout most of this game on this Gragas, to actually just being impossible to kill. Demonte!
Oh, Gale forces away, gets stunned up, but there's no backup coming in. Poom being a great bodyguard for Demonte so he can lay down the culling. Miss trying to see if he can find something else, but that's a lot of resources being blown. They have to run away. 100 Thieves, they looking for that punish. They're going to punish Miss because he blew so many resources for that engage, and they're punishing some more. Aspect caught between 3 people. Sheer in a 1 versus 2 gets exhausted, gets blown up by 100 Thieves as they are looking to see if they can take some more lives as they are looking and hunting. 100 Thieves, they are opting for so many good punishes in this game. It's already, you can't really hurt this big man. Can't really do anything. Cheeky little flash. Gets Tomio in. Tomio doesn't want to take the bite, man. And that's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just feel like we're seeing what happens when you have a game plan. EGP, they were in the mindset, we need to make plays, but that actually stopped being true at some point. And Josh, how do you turn that off?
This might be the end. Double-AD carries hitting the Nexus. Only Miss here to defend. I don't know if he can stop this by himself, Josh. He's in the middle of 3.
Ridley's not here.
He's getting taken down. Tomio is nowhere near. Shiro's now back up. 1 versus 3 situation. Teleport's coming in. But Shiro, he can't walk up. He can't defend this. Aspect by himself. They go in. They take 2. Aspect goes golden on the base, but there's 4 members on 100 Thieves, and the death timers are so staggered from the Prodigy squad. Demonte's going to go in for a Hail Mary on the fountain, but that's going to be it. 100 Thieves. They're going to be taking this game to game 3, guys. And my God, 100 Thieves, they came out on top. And EG Prodigies, you guys put a good fight, but that was some damn good League of Legends, Josh.
Oh, yeah, it was such an interesting game of League of Legends, and I have to say, we knew going into this EGP 100 Thieves, a lot of similarities between the two teams, but at the end of the day, the team that we expected to do these things better just did them better over and over and over again. And 100 Thieves now going to have to go up against EGP's big brother in Evil Geniuses Academy, so they get a bit of a run back here coming up.
Civil War time. It's a good sequel after this dang movie, man. My God. Josh, I said that I wanted some more games. I'm actually kind of full after those 3, man. Holy cow. I got enough
Too
spice.
much MSG for you?
Enough MSG for me. I think I like the spice. I handled enough. But 100 Thieves, good job on these guys, and good job showing the discipline of what they carried from just a similar playstyles, as you mentioned. You know, we talk about these storylines. EG Prodigies, they're the ones who were in 100 Thieves' next shoes from the 3 players on Academy right now last year. And, you know, they definitely played a good game, but then that experience, that time that you guys have, it showed in the difference between both these two. And, you know, I'm impressed with that going in from both these guys, Josh.
Yeah, you got to look at how these guys are looking to play throughout the rest of the tournament, because this was, you know, top 6. They got plenty of other teams. Again, we're looking at Evil Geniuses Academy that they still have to play. Cloud9 Academy, No Org. These are some big names that they're going to have to prove themselves against. And if this is the version of 100 Thieves that we're going to be seeing for the rest of the tournament, suddenly I think these guys have a real shot at actually making it through to the finals. I
Get a rematch too, Josh.
Yeah, I can't praise them enough for how good they looked early on in the game and how well they were actually able to control so many of these games.
Josh, I'm excited to see what 100 Thieves can do in this rematch against Evil Geniuses Academy coming up next. But right now, Josh, we got a Verizon post-game interview with Demonte that I'm going to leave it to Mark and Prussian to deal with, because I'm pretty sure they got a lot of words to ask, or Tanner Time himself.
It is Tanner Time with Demonte, man. First of all, congratulations on the very swift and prompt 3-0 against Evil Geniuses Prodigies. First of all, I want to ask is, how did it feel to just run him down with the Lucian, man?
It felt pretty good. I think like the draft scenario that ended up playing out in game 3.
Oh, I'm not getting audio from Demonte.
Oh.
What's going
That's
on?
true. Yeah, me neither.
He can hear us, but we can't hear him. So we'll get a little bit of time here.
Yo.
Yay, there
got
it
him.
is. The man himself.
Nice.
All right. Say that again.
Can you ask me the question again? I forgot.
Yeah. And you know, how did it feel to basically run them down with the Lucian in that game 3, man?
It felt pretty good. I think the draft scenario that ended up playing out in game 3 was something that I don't think we really expected, because the first 2 games, they were like basically the same draft. And then in game 3, we kind of thought they were going to just do the same draft again, since they decided to do it in the first 2 games, but ended up being a lot different with the first pick Renekton especially. And then it ended up playing out where I could play Lucian, and you know, that's just really fun to play Lucian, and one of my better champs too. So it was a good time.
Yeah, Prussian, I know you wanted to ask Demonte about something related to game
so,
1, I believe.
Game 1, from a personal perspective, I'm not someone who really thinks of Syndra as a really strong champion right now. What prompted the Syndra pick into game 1, into the Orianna?
Yeah, so mid lane meta right now, it's kind of like Orianna and Victor, I would say, are like the god tier champions. Like everyone kind of wants these 2 champions whenever they can. And then what ended up happening in draft that time is that they 1-2-3'd, or no, I think they 1-2-3 Orianna, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't pick mid lane on the 1-2-3. So basically they got the chance to ban out some champs, and I think they banned out Victor. So basically from there, I'm like going to be on like a B tier or like a tier 2 like champion, no matter what I do, probably, unless I like counterpick them with something off meta.
Sure.
But Syndra, I think it works really well as a champion that can win you early game. I think it sets up ganks really well. You can force Prow with Syndra a lot, and even though I don't think it's considered as like the god tier like Orion and Victor are, it's still like very playable in a lot of situations.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Okay.
I have one other question, actually. So, coming into this lineup of relatively newer players like Tenacity, like Kenvi, like Boom, how do you see your role in this team? And what's your interactions with your teammates like?
I think like all of my teammates except Poom, I think are born in like 2003. So I'm like 6 years older than these guys. So it's pretty funny.
90s gang, let's
the
go.
interaction with them, I'm definitely more like a leader for the team. I would say I kind of guide them throughout the game, like shot call for them, kind of point them in the direction they need to. And I mean, so far it's been an amazing time. I think right when I first joined, it was a little rough. I think my mental wasn't too good, but I feel like we're really on the up and up right now, and I think it's a great time to be at that spot too.
Yeah, I got a chance to see you come into that team when you guys were competing over at the Arena of the Legends tournament, and I know you weren't really finding your stride over there, but I think ever since then, the first game that you guys played, you guys have just been ramping up into Proving Grounds, and now that you're going to get into top 4, you're looking to take a rematch against EG Academy, who did send you guys to the lower bracket. You know, what are you guys looking to do this time around that you guys didn't do in the match previous to?
I think we weren't really prepared when we played Evil Genius Academy last time. I think we kind of got rolled over by them by just stuff that we didn't know was strong, or we didn't know that we couldn't really verse, or we didn't have we didn't have a strategy prepared for what they played. But I think this time there's a lot more information going into the matches, and
Sure.
I think as long as our preparation is good, I really do think our team should be better than them. And I think it's going to be a close series. Don't get me wrong. I think like very, very high chance it goes like 4 or 5 games. So yeah, I think if we just focus on our preparation and come to play, it's going to be a really high match.
Absolutely. And then I have one more last question for you before we start wrapping up and sending you off here. You get to work with your boy Grayson, aka Golden Glue, as the coach, and he is someone who has had a lot of experience both in Academy and LCS as a mid laner. So what is it like to have your main coach also be the person that specializes in your role?
Oh, that's cool. I mean, Grayson definitely, I would say he helps me like on an individual level more than everyone else, because I mean he was an LCS mid laner for a really long time too, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice to have like an extra pair of eyes just watching me and watching my lane phase. And it's also nice when he tells me I did something good, you know, because I mean it's not like he knows what he's doing, you know. So he's like yeah, pop off, bro, and I'm like thank you.
Hell yeah. A fellow swole brother giving his other swole brother some love. Well, DeMonte, we've had a blast with you on the desk. Is there any other shout outs or anything else you would like to say before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out Poom Gang, and then that's it. Yeah.
All right. Hashtag Poom Gang. Thanks again, DeMonte. We'll see you again when you take on EG Academy. All right. Awesome stuff from DeMonte there. And Prussian. Honestly, when we came into this matchup, you know, we definitely had predictions giving 100 Thieves Academy the edge over EGP, but we thought that it might have been a 3-1, you know, EG Prodigies, and we have to give them a little bit of credit here. They absolutely came back with relentless aggression, being able to switch it up towards the Nidalee. And you called it, Prussian, when we saw the drafts play out, you weren't necessarily a fan of the Renekton mid going into the Lucian. So we actually saw a pivot of a lot of the focus from Tomio's Nidalee actually on that bot side of the map.
That's true. Just thinking about this series from a wider point of view, I'm a little bit disappointed from game 1, but I'm happy to see EGP strike back games 2 and 3. And I thought that while game 1 was a complete smash, I thought this series overall was actually quite competitive. And especially this game, I thought we saw a lot of interesting development from EGP. We saw a little bit of that resourcefulness that DeMonte was describing before. And I'm looking forward to see EGP next split in the summer.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for EGP, you know, their time has been stopped because 100 Thieves Academy just came out with amazing gameplay and Tenacity, another player who was just consistently always above Surdy in each of these matchups. Him being able to lead the charge on the picks like this Gragas in game 3, the Volibear in game 1, I believe, or game 2.
Game 2.
Yeah, game 2. And then even the Aatrox in game 1 as well. Being Tenacity, we already mentioned before, has been someone that has been on the rise and has just been increasing in terms of prowess throughout the entire Proving Grounds tournament, and the rest of the 100 Thieves roster. We all also, giving props over to Demonte, who coming into this roster late during the Arena of Legends tournament has also been ramping up. 100 Thieves Academy, I'm very, very excited to see as a top 4 contender. They do have to get through EG Academy this weekend. I believe on Friday is going to be that semifinal matchup. But then afterwards, if 100 Thieves Academy have what it takes to be able to get through EG Academy, then they have to take on probably their most difficult opponent, which is either the loser of No Org or Cloud9 Academy here, Prussian.
That's true, and you're getting a little bit ahead of me. But for 100 Academy versus EG Academy, I'm really looking forward to the Demonte versus Jojo Pyun rematch.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be extremely hype. Tenacity versus Tony Top, 2 top laners that are traditionally carry-based. And I think that's going to be completely explosive. And Mystiques versus Poom, 2 supports that excel in their own regards. I think Mystiques is really good in lane. I think Poom is also really good in lane. They're both really good at roaming. I mean, I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup. Oh, and Contracts versus Kenvi.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Like, on all cylinders, I mean, this matchup, I'm excited to see it again.
Dude, Kenvi versus El Contracto. Juan Garcia.
Contracto.
That's right. I mean, we talk about Kenvi being a 100 Thieves member, and he's always able to pull out the steals, hashtag the heist. But El Contracto is known also for being a thief himself, and, he's going to try to make up and avenge his fallen sister team in Evil Geniuses Prodigies on EG Academy. We'll have to see how it plays out. That matchup will be on the 23rd. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will be returning on the 22nd for the winners final matchup between Cloud9 Academy and No Org. It is going to be a banger of a series. And before we go tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a huge thank you to not only the entire production and crew, but also Riot Games, and being able to work with us and bring an amazing light to the semi-professional community that does exist, and shining and showing that we have talent here in NA, ladies and gentlemen. I know we like to meme about it, but we've got amazing players that just needed a spotlight. They needed some time in the sun to be shown here, and we're finally getting it this year. And I hope we continue working hand in hand with Riot, with the LCS orgs, being able to get these players into the organizations and the investments and the resources that they need so that they can flourish, and we can create an ecosystem and an infrastructure so that we can have a sustainable player base for time and years to come here in North America. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great time on the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Have a good night.